Chapter 13:21. Green robe is gone. You're safe. Yi Feng smiled faintly and said softly as he looked at the two people with cautious expressions. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test am, Sidu Feng. Thank you for saving my life. A few days ago, we didn't mean to offend you. Please don't lower yourself to our level and forgive our rudeness. Looking at Yi Feng, who repelled Green Robe and saved his life, the silver-armored man immediately bowed deeply to him and said in fear, "You don't have to be nervous. I'm not that narrow-minded." Yi Feng said, "I have a few questions to ask you. I hope you can tell me the truth." "Senior, please speak." The silver-armored man and woman secretly breathed a sigh of relief and said respectfully, "Is your Situ family familiar with the Dead Ruins?" Yi Feng asked. "Senior wants to go to the Dead Ruins?" The silver-armored man finally knew why Yi Feng wanted to travel with them. His real purpose was to go to the Thunder Territory's #1 dangerous place, the Dead Ruins. "Well, I want to go to the periphery of the Dead Ruins. I wonder if your Sidu family can help me?" Yi Feng nodded. "Senior, the Dead Ruins is very dangerous. There aren't many opportunities inside. My Sidu family has lost many experts in the periphery of the Dead Ruins over the years. However, if Senior really wants to go to the Dead Ruins, I can give you the topographic map of the periphery of the Dead Ruins." The woman in the colorful dress looked at Yi Feng's handsome face in awe and bit her thin lips. "Thank you." What Yi Feng needed the most now was the map of the periphery of the Dead Ruins. Getting the topographic map would save him a lot of time. "I won't take advantage of you. These 2 ancient path pills are for you." After getting the map of the periphery of the Dead Ruins from the woman in the colorful dress, Yi Feng was not stingy. He took out 2 ancient path pills and gave them to the woman in the colorful dress and the man in the colorful dress. After bidding farewell to them, he summoned the spirit boat and went directly to the Dead Ruins. This map was very detailed. The Sidu family must have spent a lot of effort to make such a detailed map. Looking at the detailed map in his hand, Yi Feng smiled. He studied it carefully and determined the route. Around 3 days later, Yi Feng stood at the bow of the spirit boat. He could see a vast expanse of black fog in front of him, covering a large area of the domain. This was the #1 danger zone of the Thunder Dominion, the ruins of death that was said to suppress a terrifying existence. It's finally here. Yi Feng's powerful soul could sense layers of seal power in the ruins of death as he looked at the ruins of death shrouded in black mist. The seal was so strong that it made him feel pressured. However, he was very confident in the God-Eater brain. He believed that with the God-Eater brain's heaven-defying deduction ability and the Space Swallower's powerful ability to swallow space, it was completely capable of moving freely in the Dead Ruins. Yi Feng kept the spirit boat and held the map of the ruins of death that the woman in the colorful dress had given him. He identified the direction and locked onto the route that he had determined earlier. He flew into the ruins of death at an extremely fast speed. He flew rapidly in the ruins of death that was filled with black mist and seal to look for hidden stone ores. However, the ruins of death was too big, and the powerful seal in the ruins of death greatly restricted the senses of the God-Eater brain. Yi Feng followed the map and searched for more than 10 days in the ruins of death. He killed several powerful demonic beasts and dead objects, but he didn't find any hidden stone ores or any hidden stone. However, he picked up 3 priceless heaven and earth spiritual herbs. Could it be that all the hidden stone ores in the periphery of the ruins of death had been dug out? After failing to find any hidden stone ores, Yi Feng hesitated for a moment. He took the risk and went deeper into the ruins of death to continue searching for hidden stones. Finally, with the help of the God-Eater brain and the Space Swallower, he broke through more than 10 layers of powerful spatial seals and killed many terrifying dead objects. After entering the depths of the ruins of death, he found a few hidden stones that had not come out of the black soil. Under the influence of the powerful seal in the ruins of death, Yi Feng's cultivation level was suppressed to that of a level 2 combat beast emperor. The flow of soul power in his body was extremely slow. Yes, these hidden stones were all empty. Yi Chanfeng controlled the God-Eater brain and sensed the hidden stones that had not come out of the ground. He found that they were all empty and there were no treasures hidden within. When the God-Eater brain released its soul power into the ground under the hidden stones, Yi Chanfeng also didn't find any other hidden stones. This made him feel disappointed. He continued to search for hidden stones in the ruins of death patiently. Hiss! Suddenly, an ear-piercing shriek rang out. A level 8 heavenly beast death serpent that lived in the ruins of death was awakened by Yi Chanfeng. It opened its bloody mouth and tried to bite Yi Chanfeng. It wanted to devour Yi Chanfeng, who had trespassed on its territory. A level 8 heavenly beast was definitely the most terrifying existence in the outer continents. However, Yi Chanfeng was no longer the same as before. Even if his cultivation level was suppressed, a level 8 heavenly beast wouldn't be able to harm him. He gently pointed his finger, and a terrifying finger light pierced through the death serpent's head, killing it. Then, he continued to move deeper into the ruins of death. While the space swallower brain was putting in a lot of effort to break through the seals that were getting stronger and stronger, Yi Chanfeng was approaching the center of the ruins of death that was shrouded in a thick aura of death. He couldn't see what was real and what was fake. It was mysterious and unknown. Due to the influence of the powerful seals, his cultivation level was suppressed to that of a reverse beast king. Yes, his celestial demon bloodline was restless. Standing at the edge of the center of the ruins of death, Yi Chanfeng unexpectedly discovered that his celestial demon bloodline was affected by a mysterious force and was inexplicably restless. Could it be that the ruins of death was really suppressing a celestial demon? Suppressing the restlessness of his celestial demon bloodline, Yi Chanfeng vaguely guessed the truth of the ruins of death. His heart was in turmoil, as he was shocked by what kind of almighty being could actually suppress a celestial demon here. Just as he was about to take the risk of entering the center of the ruins of death, he suddenly felt the entire space fluctuating violently. A powerful seal was activated, forming an energy tide that swept across the heavens and the earth and swept towards him. Not good. Due to the suppression of the seal, Yi Chanfeng's cultivation level was limited to the limit. He didn't dare to be swept in by the energy tide and hid in the universe realm without hesitation. This ruins of death was indeed dangerous. Under the situation where his cultivation level was suppressed, it was impossible to resist the energy tide. Yi Chanfeng muttered to himself with lingering fear. He felt that with his current cultivation level, if he continued to go deeper, his life would be in danger. He had no choice but to give up and prepare to leave this place. About 6 hours later, the extremely destructive energy tide gradually disappeared. Yi Chanfeng took this opportunity to leave the universe realm and quickly flew out of the ruins of death. He had to leave the center of the ruins of death before the energy tide formed. Sigh, it was almost impossible to find a hidden stone mine in the ruins of death in a short period of time. Instead of wasting time like this, he might as well go to Thousand Blade City and try his luck. Yi Chanfeng, who didn't find anything, sighed helplessly and gave up the idea of continuing to look for hidden stones. He followed the route he came from and flew towards the periphery of the ruins of death. When Yi Chanfeng was about to leave, the deepest part of the ruins of death suddenly became restless. 2 scarlet eyes pierced through the sky and looked at Yi Chanfeng, who had the celestial demon bloodline. However, in the next moment, several seals in the center of the ruins of death were activated. 3 terrifying Tao tablets appeared at the same time and shattered the 2 seemingly solid eyes. They suppressed them, and the center of the ruins of death regained its peace. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1322. Thousand Blade City was the only city at the edge of the death ruins. Although there weren't many cultivators coming to Thousand Blade City, it was still luxurious due to the joint efforts of the 3 great clans. Watermark advertisement test watermark advertisement test. After spending a lot of effort to leave the dangerous death ruins, Yi Chunfeng recovered his soul power and arrived at Thousand Blade City. The city walls were as sturdy as a dragon. Treasure Pavilion. Not long after, Yi Chunfeng discovered a treasure pavilion that wasn't small. He walked in, but he quickly left in disappointment. It was better to go to the Situ clan to take a look. Perhaps he could get a few good hidden stones with the help of the Situ clan. Yi Chunfeng discovered that there were very few hidden stones in Thousand Blade City's treasure pavilion. They were almost worthless. Without wasting any time, he asked around and arrived at the Situ clan's residence. "Stop! Who are you looking for?" Seeing the unfamiliar face of Yi Chunfeng, two guards in silver armor immediately stopped him and questioned him with vigilance. "I'm looking for Situ Feng. Don't you know that he's back?" Yi Chunfeng looked at the two guards' vigilant eyes and didn't get angry. "Are you a friend of the three clan heads?" Thinking about how Situ Feng and Situ Miao had just returned and how Yi Chunfeng didn't reveal any malicious intent, the two guards in silver armor became less vigilant and asked in a low voice. "Yes, I'll have to trouble you to inform him that a friend of his surname is looking for him." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "All right, wait here. I'll go report to the three clan heads and see if they're willing to see you." The Situ clan was one of the three great clans of Thousand Blade City. Situ Feng's status in Thousand Blade City was very high. Not just anyone could meet him, but soon the quiet Situ clan's residence was shaken. Situ Feng, Situ Miao, and several other higher-ups of the Situ clan came to welcome Yi Chunfeng. The guards at the gate were shocked. They had guarded the Situ clan's residence for many years, but they had never seen the Situ clan place so much importance on someone. The three clan heads of the Situ clan actually appeared together and respectfully invited Yi Chunfeng into the Situ clan's residence. "I am the head of the Situ family, Situ Changyuan. Greetings, Senior Yi." Although Yi Chunfeng wasn't too old, he was the most sought-after character in the Thunder Dominion for the past year. It was even rumored that he had swept through the Mirror Moon sect and killed Lei Chun. He was the head of the Thunder Dominion's three evils. Situ Changyuan didn't dare to be so arrogant. He respectfully referred to himself as a junior. "Family head Situ is too polite, but I don't dare to call you my senior. Family head Situ, please call me by my name." Looking at the respectful expressions of Situ, Changyuan, and the others, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently, "Then let's be bold and call him young master." Yi Chunfeng's notoriety in the Thunder Dominion was simply too resounding. Even if Situ Changyuan had 100 times more courage, he still wouldn't dare to call out his name. "Young master Yi Chunfeng, may I know why you came to my Situ clan this time?" Situ Feng personally poured a cup of top-grade spirit tea for Yi Chunfeng and asked, "I'm here this time to buy some hidden stones. May I know if the Situ clan has any?" Yi Chunfeng went straight to the point. "Yes, my Situ clan does have 5 hidden stones. However, the stone shells of those 5 hidden stones are very hard. Even in our generation, no one has been able to break the stone shells and obtain the treasures inside. If young master wants them, we can give them to you." Situ Changyuan intended to rely on Yi Chunfeng, so he gritted his teeth and said generously, "Can I take a look at those 5 hidden stones?" Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up, revealing a trace of joy. "Young master, please wait for a moment. I'll go and get those 5 hidden stones." Situ Changyuan didn't hesitate and immediately went to the treasury. He took out the 5 hidden stones that had been passed down for nearly 100,000 years. Yi Chunfeng glanced at the 5 hidden stones of different shapes and sizes. He closed his eyes and controlled the God-Eater brain to sense the 5 hidden stones. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Yi Chunfeng opened his eyes and locked onto a fist-sized storage stone. It was oval-shaped and about half a meter long. "Patriarch Situ, I want these 2 hidden stones." "Patriarch Situ, please name a price." Yi Chunfeng pointed at the 2 hidden stones that he chose and said, "Young Master Yi, you're too polite. You defeated the great ominous green robe and saved my clan brother and my daughter. These 2 hidden stones are yours." Although Situ Changyuan felt that the 2 hidden stones that Yi Chunfeng chose were valuable, their strength was limited, and they couldn't break the hidden stones. Thus, he decided to give them to Yi Chunfeng to form a good relationship. No, I can't take advantage of you. I'll use 4 ancient Dao elixirs and 2 Gu Dao treasure to exchange for them. Yi Chunfeng knew the value of the 2 hidden stones that he chose. He took out the ancient Dao elixir and Gu Dao treasure and gave them to Sidu Chanyuan. Young Master Yi, this is too valuable. Although the Sidu family was one of the 3 major families in the Thousand Blade City, the Thousand Blade City was only a medium-sized city in the Thunder region. There were no Nirvana realm cultivators in the family. Their overall strength was only slightly stronger than the Zhou family. The Gu Dao treasure was definitely a family treasure to them. With Yi Chunfeng's ancient Dao elixir and ancient Dao treasure, the Sidu family's overall strength would increase by a lot. Patriarch Sidu, I wonder if you can help me find more hidden stones? Yi Chunfeng looked at the excited Sidu Chanyuan and said slowly, if there are suitable hidden stones, I will buy them at a high price. Don't worry, young Master Yi. I will immediately use all kinds of channels to find hidden stones for you. Sidu Chanyuan patted his chest and promised. While the Sidu family patriarch was collecting hidden stones for Yi Chunfeng through the family's channels, Yi Chunfeng was living in the Sidu family mansion. However, not many people knew about his identity. Sidu Chanyuan could seal his disappearance, so the Thousand Blade City didn't know about his arrival. Under Sidu Changyuan's efforts, hidden stones were constantly delivered to Yi Chunfeng's courtyard. However, the chances of hidden stones containing treasures were very low. Yi Chunfeng's vision was very high. Out of hundreds of hidden stones, he only chose 1 hidden stone. Young Master Yi, I almost found all the hidden stones in the Thousand Blade City. Looking at the hidden stones piled up like a mountain in the courtyard, Sidu Chanyuan said respectfully, Patriarch Sidu, thank you for your hard work. I will give you a Gu Dao treasure. The Gu Dao treasure was almost useless to Yi Chunfeng. However, the hidden stones he chose from the Sidu family were very valuable. He took out a Gu Dao treasure that he obtained from killing his enemies and gave it to Sidu Chanyuan. Thank you, young Master Yi. Sidu Chanyuan took the Gu Dao treasure with both hands and said gratefully from the bottom of his heart, Patriarch Sidu, I will leave the Thousand Blade City in a few days. Before I leave, I can help you with one thing. Yi Chunfeng knew that Sidu Chanyuan spent a lot of manpower and resources to find so many hidden stones in such a short time. He didn't want to owe Sidu Chanyuan too big of a favor. Young Master Yi, I really do have a favor to ask of you. Sidu Chanyuan took a deep breath and said, Patriarch Sidu, please say it, Yi Chunfeng said. Not long ago, my Sidu family's disciples found an ancient tomb outside the Thousand Blade City. When we were preparing to excavate it, the Chao family and the Du family found out. In order to obtain the items in the ancient tomb, they joined forces to bully my Sidu family and wanted to occupy the ancient tomb. I wonder if young Master Yi can support my Sidu family and let us excavate the burial items in the ancient tomb? Sidu Chanyuan pleaded. Sure, you can gather experts today. Tomorrow, I will accompany you to excavate the ancient tomb. Yi Chunfeng nodded and agreed happily. Thank you, young Master Yi. Sidu Chanyuan was overjoyed. With Yi Chunfeng holding the fort, the Chao family and the Du family were destined to end in tragedy if they dared to have any ideas about the ancient tomb. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1323. The Skywall Mountain was a towering mountain that was thousands of meters high in the northwest of Thousand Blade City. The mountain was covered with dense vegetation and ancient trees. In the deepest part of the Skywall Mountain, there was a mountain wall that was as smooth as a mirror. That was how the Skywall Mountain got its name. Young Master Yi, after passing through the forest, you will reach the ancient tomb that my Sidu family discovered. However, the Chao family and the Du family insisted on getting a share of the loot. That's why the ancient tomb has been sealed by our 3 families. Sidu Chanyuan pointed at the lush forest in front of him and said respectfully, as long as this ancient tomb was discovered by your Sidu family first, The other two families will not be able to take it away. Yi Chen-feng looked at the dense qi floating in front of him and said with an unquestionable tone, "Thank you, young Master Yi." With Yi Chen-feng's support, Situ Chang Yuan was full of confidence. Family head when the Situ family experts guarding the ancient tomb saw Situ Chang Yuan and Situ Feng arrive with a group of Situ family experts. They immediately stepped forward and bowed. Nodding at the 10 or so Situ family masters, Situ Chang Yuan cast his gaze at the Chao family and Du family who were guarding around the ancient tomb. He said in a low voice, "This ancient tomb was discovered by the Situ family first. According to the rules, this ancient tomb belongs to the Situ family. Please leave." "You can leave, but if you dig up the burial items, my two families want 60%. An old man in a black robe, with a hooked nose and sunken eyes, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, opened his eyes and said coldly, "What if I don't agree?" Situ Chang Yuan said angrily, "If you don't agree, then no one will be able to excavate this ancient tomb," the old man in black said tyrannically. "Situ family head, just ignore them and start excavating the ancient tomb." Yi Chen-feng said calmly as he glanced at the rude and unreasonable black-clothed old man. "What? Does your Situ clan want to stir up a dispute between the three great clans?" The black-clothed old man glared at Yi Chen-feng and slowly stood up. He warned coldly, "You will not be able to bear the consequences of angering us." Situ Chang Yuan and the others turned a deaf ear to the old man's warning. They ordered the Situ clan's experts to quickly excavate the tomb. Immediately, a large amount of qi filled the ancient tomb. "Since you are so stubborn, then don't blame our two great clans for not giving you face," the black-clothed old man warned with a gloomy expression. Yi Chen-feng didn't stop the Chao and Du families' people from taking out their transmission beads to inform their families. At this time, he controlled the god-devouring brain and sent his soul force into the ancient tomb, probing it. What a dense qi! The strength of the owner of this tomb should have been extraordinary when he was alive. The stronger one was when they were alive, the stronger the qi released after they died. Yi Chen-feng suspected that the ancient tomb discovered by the Situ clan should be the ancient tomb of a Nirvana realm expert. And what's that? As the Situ clan's experts dug deeper and deeper, Yi Chen-feng sensed a large group of tombs a few hundred meters deep. On the tomb's door, which was carved with a large number of stone dragons, he found a fist-sized crystal. "Situ family head, quickly ask your people to come up. Don't touch the tomb's door." Yi Chen-feng controlled the god-devouring brain to sense the crystal embedded on the tomb's door. When he suspected it was a key, his expression changed slightly. "Yes, young Master Yi." What kind of person was Yi Chen-feng? Seeing him lose his composure, Situ Chang Yuan felt the severity of the situation. He hurriedly went to the top of the large hole in the tomb and loudly ordered. Hearing Situ Chang Yuan's order, the Situ clan's experts, who were about to forcefully break open the tomb, stopped digging and quickly left the tomb. "Wait for me here," Yi Chen-feng instructed and jumped into the pitch-black tomb. He quickly came to the tomb's door, which was more than 5 meters tall and had lifelike stone dragons carved on it. He cast his gaze at the dark purple crystal embedded in the corner of the tomb's door. It didn't have a trace of luster and looked ordinary. What a terrifying energy! The destructive power contained in this purple crystal was not inferior to the Saint Destruction Pearl. It could probably severely injure a Nirvana realm expert. If someone who didn't know how powerful it was forcefully destroyed it, the explosive power would probably destroy everything within a radius of a few miles. Yi Chen-feng controlled the god-devouring brain to sense it repeatedly for a while. He felt the terror of this purple crystal and guessed that the tomb's owner must have deliberately left it on the tomb's door to prevent his bones from being dug out by his descendants. 3 Great Tao Insights Restriction. With a thought, Yi Chen-feng's 3 Great Tao diagrams appeared on his body. They released a powerful restriction power and carefully restricted this purple crystal. When Yi Chen-feng forcefully restricted the purple crystal, the Chao and Du clans, who were filled with killing intent, immediately rushed to the Skywall Mountain and surrounded the ancient tomb. Situ Changyuan, how dare you? You actually want to take this ancient tomb for yourself. It seems like you don't put our two clans in your eyes. A white-robed old man with snow-white eyebrows and a ruddy complexion glared angrily at Situ Changyuan and the others. Master Chow, this ancient tomb was discovered by our Situ clan first. Do we need your permission to excavate it? With Yi Qinfeng's support, Situ Changyuan was a lot more strong-willed and asked back without showing any weakness. Good. It seems that your Situ clan is determined to be enemies with our two clans. In that case, don't blame me for being merciless. Master Chow's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. He stared at Situ Changyuan and ordered, "Disciples of the Chow and Du clans, listen to my orders. Seal this place and kill anyone who dares to come close." Chow Yunjing, how dare you? Situ Changyuan did not expect Chow Yunjing to order the Du clan's experts. His expression changed slightly, and he said angrily, "Whoosh." As soon as Situ Changyuan's voice fell, a short middle-aged man standing behind Chow Yunjing appeared in front of him. He was wearing a linen robe and looked very inconspicuous. He threw a punch at Situ Changyuan's chest. The punch broke his defense and sent him flying. Nirvana, a mighty man seeing the linen-clothed man, sent Situ Changyuan flying with one punch. The Situ clan's experts were deeply shocked by his strength. Many people looked at him with fear in their eyes. "Yunjing, I already said that they are a bunch of trash. If you kill them, just kill them. You are not afraid of their revenge." The linen-clothed man looked at Situ Changyuan, who was thrown more than 10 meters away, spitting out blood and with his chest caved in. He said disdainfully, "Give me another 100 million top-grade soul crystals, and I will help you kill them all to prevent future trouble." "Okay, then I will have to trouble Shadow Ghost Sr." Although the risk of killing the Situ clan was exposed and would bring endless trouble to the Chow clan, Chow Yunjing showed a greedy look when he felt the dense yin qi in the ancient tomb. Finally, he had the intention to kill and agreed to the linen-clothed man's request. This was the right choice. The linen-clothed man revealed an eerie smile as he licked his long fingernails that were as sharp as swords. His body flashed and transformed into an illusory afterimage as he attacked the Situ clan's experts who had turned pale with fright and were retreating one after another. He was ready to start a massacre. Mobile reading site. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1324. Young Master Yi, save us. Seeing that the lives of the Situ family disciples were in danger, Situ Changyuan, who was lying on the ground, immediately shouted for help from Yi Qinfeng. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test buzz. An invincible sword light flew out from the pitch-black tomb. It crossed the void and blocked the sharp claw light of the linen-clothed man, forcing him to retreat. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng, who had successfully sealed the purple crystal and put it away in the universe realm, flew out from the pitch-black tomb, leaving behind a dazzling afterimage in the air. "Ha!" Before the sack-clothed man could react, a crisp slap resounded. The sack-clothed man, who had just been insufferably arrogant and controlled the life and death of the Situ family disciples, was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's slap. He crashed into a thick, ancient tree in the distance and was ruthlessly smashed to the ground, blood flowing from his mouth. Silence. Incomparable silence. Witnessing this scene, the experts of the Chow and Du families were stunned. They stared blankly at Yi Qinfeng, who had suddenly appeared. Who are you?" Looking into Yi Qinfeng's deep eyes, Chow Yunjing felt an inexplicable fear. He swallowed hard and asked in a slightly trembling voice. Being able to send the sack-clothed man flying with a slap was enough to prove that Yi Qinfeng was stronger. "Damn it, I'll kill you." An angry roar resounded from under the broken tree. The sack-clothed man, whose cheeks had caved in and half of his face deformed, roared furiously. He burned the power of his bloodline and shattered the thick, broken tree. He was like an enraged lion, bringing with him a chilling, murderous aura as he attacked Yi Chenfeng. His speed was not slow, but his strength was a little weak. Seeing the sack-clothed man turn into an afterimage at an astonishing speed and appear in front of him in the blink of an eye, Yi Chenfeng's expression was calm. When the sack-clothed man condensed 2 Dao diagrams and attacked at close range, Yi Chenfeng's foot cracked the hard ground. The power of the 5 acupoints in his body erupted as he waved his shining fist to meet the sack-clothed man. Bang! The linen-clothed man's attack was shattered by a single punch from Yi Chenfeng. Yi Chenfeng's fist was filled with the strength of 100 million jin and the power of the spiritual pearl of death, smashing into the linen-clothed man's arm. In the blink of an eye, the vitality of the linen-clothed man's right arm was severed by the power of the spiritual pearl of death, rapidly withering away. Once again, the linen-clothed man was sent flying by Yi Chenfeng. Who if the previous scene made Chao Yunjing and the others frightened, then the linen-clothed man was sent flying by Yi Chenfeng for the second time, which made them completely despair. What? Want to run? Yi Chenfeng saw that the heavily injured linen-clothed man wanted to escape, so he chased after him with his sword steps and intercepted him in the blink of an eye. You better not act recklessly. I am an old friend of green-robed Great Ominous. If you dare to harm me, you will also die. The linen-clothed man did not expect Yi Chenfeng's strength to be so terrifying. Facing Yi Chenfeng, he had no power to resist. He immediately brought out green-robed Great Ominous to pressure Yi Chenfeng. Green-robed Yi Chenfeng slightly raised the corner of his mouth and said, "Even if green-robed Great Ominous is here today, he will not be able to save you. I will send a message to green-robed Great Ominous. You are dead." The linen-clothed man quickly took out a communication bead. In front of Yi Chenfeng, he tried to contact green-robed Great Ominous to continue pressuring Yi Chenfeng. The desperate Chao Yunjing and the others were overjoyed to see that green-robed Great Ominous was involved in this matter. In their view, with green-robed Great Ominous reputation, no matter how powerful Yi Chenfeng was, he was doomed to shrink back. I said, "Green-robed Great Ominous cannot save you." Yi Chenfeng's eyes revealed a strong, murderous intent. The bronze sword spirit appeared in his palm. Just as he was about to take the linen-clothed man's life, green-robed Great Ominous voice suddenly sounded from the communication bead. "Green-robed Great Ominous, I am Shadow Ghost. Someone wants to kill me. Green-robed Great Ominous, please save me." Beads of sweat appeared on the linen-clothed man's forehead. His heart was filled with fear when he suddenly heard green-robed Great Ominous voice from the communication bead. It was as if he had heard the most beautiful sound of nature. Green-robed Great Ominous hesitated for a moment and asked in a cold voice, "Who is Shadow Ghost? Who wants to kill you?" Yes. Shadow Ghost looked at Yi Chenfeng with cold eyes and wanted to ask for his name. "It's me, Yi Chenfeng," suddenly answered. "You are green-robed Great Ominous." Yi Chenfeng said lightly. Yi Chenfeng, "Shadow Ghost, I can't save you." Green-robed Great Ominous was silent for a few breaths and ended the communication with Shadow Ghost. You are green-robed Great Ominous, Yi Chenfeng." Shadow Ghost looked at Yi Chenfeng with a pale face. His heart fell to the bottom. He didn't expect that helping the Chao family on a whim would provoke Yi Chenfeng, the leader of the Thunderfield's 3 evils. I said, "Green-robed Great Ominous can't save you." Yi Chenfeng said coldly, sentencing Shadow Ghost to death. "Young Master Yi, please show mercy. I am willing to submit to you. Please spare my life." In order to live, Shadow Ghost directly knelt on the ground and begged. "Submit to me." Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly. He looked at Shadow Ghost and said in a low voice, "Fine. If you are willing to submit to me, I can spare your life. Now, I will put a mark on your soul. If you dare to resist, don't blame me for being ruthless." Yes. Although Shadow Ghost knew what it meant to put a mark on the soul, in order to live, he had no other choice. He could only kneel on the ground obediently and let the power of the God-Eater brain penetrate into his sea of soul and put a powerful soul mark on his sea of soul. After subduing Nirvana's shadow ghost, Yi Chunfeng slowly walked to the masters of the Chao and Du families who were already scared out of their wits. He said coldly, "Now the Situ family wants to excavate this ancient tomb. Do you have any objections?" No. After knowing Yi Chunfeng's identity, Chao Yunjing and the others were already scared out of their wits. Yi Chunfeng even destroyed the Mirror Moon sect. He also killed Lei Chun in the Thunder Clan. It was rumored that he also killed the Thunder Clan's patriarch, Lei Yi. Facing such a ferocious person, even if Chao Yunjing and the others were 100 times more courageous, they still wouldn't dare to go against him. "Young Master Yi, do you want to kill them?" Shadow Ghost hated Chao Yunjing and the others to death. If it weren't for them, he wouldn't have ended up like this. "Young Master Yi, please spare our lives. We know we were wrong." Hearing Shadow Ghost's words, Chao Yunjing and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale. They kept begging for mercy. "If you want me to spare your lives, bring me the hidden stone that was passed down from your ancestors." Yi Chunfeng wasn't a bloodthirsty person, and he didn't want to destroy the power structure of Thousand Blade City. He only came here for the hidden stone. Yes, I will go get it now." Chao Yunjing and the patriarch of the Du family obeyed. In order to intimidate them, Yi Chunfeng purposely left a soul mark on them so that they wouldn't dare to hide the hidden stone. While the masters of the Chao and Du families were retrieving the hidden stone, the Sidu family continued to excavate the ancient tomb under Yi Chunfeng's instructions. Without the purple crystal, the ancient tomb's door was easily broken open by the masters of the Sidu family. Many of the buried items were taken out by the masters of the Sidu family. Although the quality of the buried items in the ancient tomb was extraordinary, and there were even 2 great Gudao treasure, compared to these treasures, Yi Chunfeng didn't care at all. Not to mention, he had obtained the most precious item in the ancient tomb, the purple crystal that could severely injure a Nirvana Heavenly Realm expert. While the Sidu family's experts were excavating the ancient tomb, Chao Yunjing and the Du family's patriarch arrived with more than 30 hidden stones of different sizes. Yi Chunfeng controlled the God Eater Brain and scanned the 30 over hidden stones. He picked 3 of them and spared the Chao and Du families. Although he didn't eliminate the Chao and Du families with the Situ family's harvest today, if used properly, they could suppress the Chao and Du families and become the #1 family in Thousand Blade City. With today's lesson, the Chao and Du families didn't dare to have any ambitions. Situ family's patriarch, everyone were leaving now. Back at the Situ family's residence, Yi Chunfeng didn't stay for long. He bid farewell to Situ Changyuan, Situ Feng, and the rest, and left Thousand Blade City with Shadow Ghost. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Say button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1325. A red sun spewed out a boundless sea of clouds. The golden light was dazzling as it enveloped the sky above Zhou Memory City. Watermark advertisement test because of Yi Chunfeng, the Lightning Clan, Nangong Clan, and Earthing Sect provided a large amount of resources to the Zhou clan. Without any worries, the Zhou clan boldly and decisively built up Zhou Memory City. Every day, Zhou Memory City was undergoing huge changes. After flying for 4 days and 4 nights, Yi Chunfeng finally arrived at the airspace above Yizhou City. During the flight, Yi Chunfeng relied on his absolute strength to break open the 6 hidden stones he obtained from Thousand Blade City. He obtained 4 incomparably precious drops of life spirit liquid that could restore 5,000 years of lifespan, 2 blood origin fruits, 1 drop of Saint Demon blood, and 1 astral fruit that was very useful to him. Yi Chunfeng left behind 4 drops of life spirit fluid and the astral strength fruit. He gave the 2 blood origin fruits to the spiritual fish and the golden clear dragon blood lion, respectively. He also gave the holy demon blood to the space swallower so that they could cultivate faster and transform faster. In Tianyi and Nangong Qingxue, Yi Chunfeng kept the spirit boat and landed outside Zhou Memory City. His powerful soul sensed Zhou Tianyi and Nangong Qingshua's aura at a picturesque lake outside Zhou Memory City and walked over with Shadow Ghost. Tianyi, Qingxue, you two are developing very quickly. Seeing Zhou Tianyi and Nangong Qingshuo snuggling together and whispering by the lake, Yi Chunfeng revealed a smile and teased. Big Brother hearing Yi Chunfeng's voice, Zhou Tianyi and Nangong Qingshuo immediately stood up and separated. Their faces were slightly red. Tianyi, Qingshuo, I'm about to leave the lightning region. I wonder if I can drink your wedding wine before I leave. Looking at the two who were extremely compatible, Yi Chunfeng intentionally asked, It's all up to young Master Yi. Nangong Qingshue's face was slightly red. She glanced at the emotional Zhou Tianyi who had already entered her heart and said softly, Let's go back and discuss your marriage. Yi Chunfeng said in a good mood. After seeing how terrifying Yi Chunfeng was, Nangong Zheng had long wanted to marry Nangong Qingshuo to Zhou Tianyi to ease the relationship between him and Yi Chunfeng. Therefore, when he received Yi Chunfeng's message, he agreed without hesitation. After discussion, Zhou Tianyi and Nangong Qingshuo's wedding date was set to be held 8 days later in Yizhou City. Although the Zhou clan was not famous in the Thunder Territory, Yi Chunfeng was too famous in the Thunder Territory. In addition, Zhou Tianyi had married the princess of the Nangong clan. So on the day of their wedding, all the major powers in the Thunder Territory came to congratulate them. Yin Ruoshi, master of the Earthly Yin faction, comes to congratulations from the Zhao family of Holy Thunder City, congratulations from the Dongfang family. Lei Zifan, Lei Zixin, Lei Yeqing, the young master of the Lei clan. Great Misfortune sends heartbroken congratulations seeing all the famous figures of the Thunder Territory coming to the Zhou clan to attend the wedding of Zhou Tianyi and Nangong Qingshuo. The Zhou clan's patriarch Zhou Shanlong was so excited that he could not speak. Nangong Zheng's heart was also surging. Although the Zhou clan was not strong now, he believed that with the help of all the major powers, the Zhou clan would rise in the Thunder Territory in no time. Young Master Yi, how was your trip to the Death Ruins? In the evening, Lei Zixin found Yi Chunfeng, who had avoided the noise and was drinking alone in the Zhou clan's garden. She swayed her sexy waist as she slowly walked over and asked softly, Not bad, I got some things that I wanted. Looking at Lei Zixin, who was even more beautiful than a fairy, Yi Chunfeng put down the wine cup in his hand and said softly, Then what does young Master Yi plan to do next? Lei Zixin filled Yi Chunfeng's cup with wine and asked softly, I might leave the Thunder Territory. Yi Chunfeng did not hide anything and said frankly, I really envy young Master Yi. You could do whatever you want and wander around the Central World. Lei Zixin said with a yearning expression. In fact, I envy you even more. You have a home. Yi Chunfeng drank up the wine in his cup and said thoughtfully, Young Master Yi, if you want, the Thunder Clan can be your home. Lei Zixin's face was tender and beautiful, revealing 3 parts beauty and 7 parts flirtatious, and said with deep meaning. Looking at Lei Zixin's charming and moving face, Yi Chunfeng was lost in thought for a moment, but his heart of martial arts was strong and he instantly recovered. He shook his head and said, I am destined to be a wanderer. I don't have any extravagant hopes for a home. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's tactful refusal, the number 1 beauty of the Thunder Territory, Lei Zixin, revealed a trace of disappointment. She deeply looked at Yi Chunfeng's angular face and said, Young Master Yi, what I said just now will be effective for 10 years. If one day you are tired, you can come to the Thunder Clan to find me. Thank you. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile, took out 2 golden fire lotus petals from the universe mirror and gave them to Lei Zixin, who he had a good impression of, and said, These 2 fire lotus petals are for you. I hope you can break through to Nirvana soon. Lei Zixin was a person who knew the value of the golden fire lotus. She revealed a charming smile and said, Thank you for the gift. I like it very much. Young Master Yi, we are leaving tomorrow. Tonight, can you accompany me to enjoy the bright moon in the sky and watch the sunrise tomorrow morning? Lei Zixin sealed the 2 golden fire lotus petals in a jade box and softly invited him. Of course, he would accept the invitation of a beauty. Yi Chenfeng smiled faintly and happily agreed. Zhou Mansion is too chaotic. Let's go to a quiet place to enjoy the moon. Lei Zixin gently stood up and suggested. Okay. Yi Chenfeng nodded and left with Lei Zixin. Humph, a guy with evil intentions but no guts. He actually rejected sister. I really want to beat him up. Yi Chenfeng and Lei Zifan had just left when Lei Zifan and Lei Yiqing walked out. Lei Yiqing said angrily. Yi Chenfeng is not an ordinary person. His determination to pursue the peak of martial arts is beyond our reach. Therefore, he will not stay in my Lei clan for Zixin. Thinking of Yi Chenfeng's various achievements in the Lei territory, Lei Zifan still praised him. Brother, if sister goes out with Yi Chenfeng, will Yi Chenfeng do something to sister? Thinking of Lei Zixin's beauty, Lei Yiqing said with some worry. You little girl, what are you thinking about all day? Lei Zifan revealed a bitter smile and said, Don't worry, this kind of thing will not happen. The night passed quickly. At dawn, a red sun jumped up into the clouds and shone on the earth. Yi Chenfeng glanced at Lei Zixin, who was leaning on his arm and had fallen into a sweet dream. He smiled and woke her up. Lei Zixin opened her bright eyes and looked at Yi Chenfeng in the eyes. Two attractive blushes suddenly appeared on her white and tender cheeks. However, they did not speak. Like a pair of lovers, they leaned on each other and looked at the rising sun, admiring the fascinating scenery. Thank you for accompanying me to enjoy the moon and watch the sunrise. I will always remember this day. When the scorching sun hung in the sky, Lei Zixin stood up and stretched her waist, revealing her beautiful curves to the fullest. Yi Chenfeng looked at Lei Zixin's white and tender face and said, I am leaving. I hope we'll meet again one day. Lei Zixin nodded and said reluctantly. She slowly walked behind Yi Chenfeng and suddenly hugged him. She stuck her head on his back and leaned on him tightly. Lei Zixin left with great reluctance. Yi Chenfeng bid farewell to the Zhou clan and left Yizhou City with Shadow Ghost. 20 days later, a speeding spirit boat passed through the space restriction and appeared in the sky above the Nine Chasm. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1326. The East Sea Palace was the #1 power in the Eastern continent. However, during the trip to the Abyss of Hell, Hemingway Map, Sakuraji, and the others all died at the hands of Yi Chenfeng, causing the strength of the East Sea Palace to be greatly reduced. Fortunately, the old palace master of the East Sea Palace, Hai Dong Tian, was in secluded meditation and didn't go to the Abyss of Hell. With him overseeing the East Sea Palace, it was still able to suppress the Heaven Sword Palace and dominate the throne of the #1 power in the Eastern continent. As for the Yu family, which had suffered heavy losses in the Abyss of Hell and had lost almost all of its experts, it gradually withdrew from the stage of the Eastern continent. Qinghai City, a large city under the control of the East Sea Palace. It was built close to the East Coast and was a famous trade city in the Eastern continent. The construction of the city was very prosperous. Senior Jiang, Senior White, and Senior Zheng, I'll leave the Xingluo continent to you. When I have time, I'll go to the Xingluo continent to visit you. Standing on the beach outside Qinghai City, Yi Chenfeng looked at Kong Sungqian and the others, who were preparing to return to the Xingluo continent on a ship. Don't worry, Chenfeng. Leave the Xingluo continent to us 3 old fellows. There won't be any problems. Nirvana was the absolute ruler of the Xingluo continent. With Kong Sungqian and the others overseeing it, it was almost impossible for an ordinary power to extend their tentacles to the Xingluo continent. After sending off Kong Sungqian and the others, Yi Chenfeng brought Shadow Ghost and returned to Qinghai City under the setting sun. He planned to stay there for a night and rest. Then, he would head to the East Sea Palace's East Sea City and secretly take control of the East Sea Palace. However, when they were checking in, Yi Chenfeng unexpectedly received a piece of news. The East Sea Palace was currently fighting against the Heaven Sword Palace. Currently, the East Sea Palace's experts had already arrived at the Heaven's Sword Mountain and were besieging the Heaven's Sword Palace's headquarters. Logically speaking, the East Sea Palace's strength should not be able to suppress the Heaven's Sword Palace. Could it be that there are other forces interfering? Yi Qinfeng mumbled to himself. He felt that secretly controlling the Eastern continent was far more complicated than he had imagined. Come on, let's take a stroll in the City Lord's mansion. Qinghai City was a city under the control of the East Sea Palace. The City Lord of Qinghai City was the protector of the East Sea Palace. He knew many of the secrets of the East Sea Palace. Yi Qinfeng led Shadow Ghost to the City Lord's mansion. He planned to search Azure Sea City's City Lord's soul to see which power had interfered with the Eastern continent. How dare you? This is the City Lord's mansion. Outsiders are not allowed to come near. When the 4 armored guards saw Yi Qinfeng and Shadow Ghost walking towards them in the dark night, their faces darkened as they shouted a warning loudly. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Yi Qinfeng's sharp eyes swept over the 4 guards. Soul power burst forth from his mind, forming a powerful, dizzying force. Like a heavy hammer, it smashed into the 4 guards' soul seas and knocked them unconscious. Shadow Ghost revealed a look of shock when he saw Yi Qinfeng knock out the 4 guards with a single glance. He looked at Yi Qinfeng with eyes full of reverence. Let's go in. After saying that, Yi Qinfeng stepped into the heavily guarded City Lord's mansion. He released his powerful soul power and locked onto the strongest person in the City Lord's mansion. Yi Qinfeng used the dizzying technique to knock out the guards who discovered him. He arrived at the richly ornamented main house. Through the restrictions, he could faintly hear the sounds of pleasure coming from inside the house. Right now, Azure Sea City's City Lord was rolling around on the bed with his 2 new concubines. They were doing intense exercise. The 3 of them were constantly entangled, and the entire room was filled with a charming atmosphere. Azure Sea City's City Lord was in a good mood. The corner of Yi Qinfeng's mouth curled up slightly. A sharp ray of light shot out from his fingertip and pierced through the tightly shut door. Like cutting through a piece of paper, it tore through the restrictions in the room and pushed the door open. Ah! 2 ear-piercing screams rang out. 2 people suddenly appeared in the pitch-black room. Their faces were flushed red, and they were completely naked. They let out sharp screams as they clutched their blankets to cover their bodies. They curled up at the foot of the bed and shivered. Who are you? How bold! You even dare to barge into my City Lord's mansion. Azure Sea City's City Lord's expression changed. He quickly pulled up his robes and put them on. He glared at Yi Qinfeng and Shadow Ghost and roared furiously. What? This is a tiger's den. We can't barge in. Yi Qinfeng indifferently said. Die. Killing intent flashed in Azure Sea City's City Lord's eyes. A sparkling Dao treasure shot out from his body, attacking Yi Qinfeng like a cold star. How bold! When Shadow Ghost saw that the Azure Sea City's City Lord dared to attack Yi Qinfeng, he decisively stood in front of the City Lord and quickly sent out a sharp finger light. With one strike, the powerful and extremely fast Dao treasure was sent flying. Cracks spread across the surface of the Dao treasure. Why you? Azure Sea City's City Lord was dumbfounded when he saw his strongest Dao treasure being shattered by Shadow Ghost's attack. Protect the City Lord. At this moment, hearing Azure Sea City's City Lord's angry roar, a large number of city guards rushed over. They wielded sharp weapons and attacked Yi Qinfeng and Shadow Ghost. However, when they got close to Yi Qinfeng, they immediately felt a heavy blow to their souls. Their vision darkened, and they fainted on the spot. Why you? Just who are you? Seeing the city guards faint before they could even get close to Yi Qinfeng, Azure Sea City's City Lord was completely stunned. He sank into deep fear. Don't be nervous. As long as you cooperate obediently, I won't hurt you. You can still have fun in the future. After using the stun technique and knocking out the city guards, Yi Qinfeng slowly walked towards Azure Sea City's City Lord, who was so scared that his face was pale and his body was trembling. Why you? What are you trying to do? Although Azure Sea City's City Lord was a level 4 combat Beast Emperor expert, he couldn't summon any fighting spirit when facing Yi Qinfeng, who had such shocking means. His voice trembled as he spoke. Soul, search Yi Qinfeng's palm, sucked the terrified Azure Sea City's city lord in front of him and restricted his body. He pressed one hand on Azure Sea City's city lord's head and used the power of the God-Eater brain to search his soul. If you dare to hurt me, the East Sea Palace won't let you off. Azure Sea City's city lord was scared out of his wits. He shouted at the top of his lungs, "If you don't want to die, you'd better behave yourself. Otherwise, I'll break your neck." Yi Qinfeng warned with killing intent. He controlled the God-Eater brain to continue searching his soul. Feeling Yi Qinfeng's killing intent, Azure Sea City's city lord became timid and didn't dare to resist. He let Yi Qinfeng search his soul with fear in his heart. Just as I guessed, the people of the Kirin Kingdom had extended their tentacles to the eastern continent again. It seems like they still haven't given up on the opportunities in the abyss of hell. After obtaining some important information from Azure Sea City's city lord soul, Yi Qinfeng didn't start a massacre. Instead, he forcefully erased part of Azure Sea City's city lord's memories. He then erased the memories of everyone who had seen him and left with Shadow Ghost. "Young Master Yi, where are we going now?" After witnessing Yi Qinfeng's means, Shadow Ghost was completely subdued. He asked respectfully, "We're going to the Heaven Sword Palace to kill the people of the Kirin Kingdom and cut off their tentacles." Yi Qinfeng said tyrannically. He summoned his spirit boat and flew towards the Heaven Sword Palace with Shadow Ghost. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this book. You'll be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1327. The Heavenly Sword Mountain was one of the 4 famous mountains of the Eastern Continent. The reason why it was so famous was because the Heavenly Sword Palace, one of the 4 great sacred grounds of the Eastern Continent, was built there. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. The Heavenly Sword Palace had existed for more than 100,000 years. It was the holy land of cultivation that all sword cultivators in the other continents yearned for. The palace master of the Heavenly Sword Palace, Jian Maxian, was also known as the #1 attacker in the Eastern Continent. However, the Heavenly Sword Palace was currently facing the greatest crisis since its establishment. The experts of the East Sea Palace led by Haidong Tian had launched a surprise attack on the Heavenly Sword Palace. They tore through layers of restrictions and attacked the entrance of the Heavenly Sword Palace. Within the main hall of Heaven's Sword Palace, a severely injured old man in blood-stained white robes sat in the center of the hall, recuperating. This old man was one of the pillars of Heaven's Sword Palace, the old palace master, Jian Maxian. "Old palace master, how are your injuries? Are they serious?" Jian Fengyun asked anxiously when he saw Jian Maxian waking up after consuming several heavenly pills. "I can still fight." Jian Maxian took a deep breath and said solemnly, "Master, the Haidong Tian is so strong that even you aren't his match." Jian Shun, who was wearing a white martial robe and had cultivated to the level of a 3rd-grade combat beast emperor, asked solemnly. He knew that Jian Maxian's attack power was almost at the peak of a 6th-grade combat beast emperor. "The one who injured me wasn't Haidong Tian, but a middle-aged man wearing a robe with a python pattern. I only lasted 10 moves before I was heavily injured." Jian Maxian shook his head and said softly, "What? When did such a terrifying expert appear in the East Sea Palace?" Gasps rose and fell in the hall, and the atmosphere became even more oppressive and uneasy. "If I'm not wrong, that person isn't from the East Sea Palace, but an expert from the Divine Nation. He's probably in the Nirvana Realm." Jian Maxian said, "Nirvana Realm? Damn, the Eastern Sea Palace. They actually colluded with the Divine Nation's people. If they had known this would happen, they would have wiped them out when they were heavily injured," many of the Sky Sword Palace's experts said with righteous indignation. "Old Palace Master, now that the Scandinavian nation has interfered, our Sky Sword Palace is no match for them. The only thing we could do now is to give up on this place. Only then will we have a chance at survival." The Sky Sword Palace Master, Jian Fengyun, clenched his fists tightly, and said unwillingly. Although he wasn't afraid of death, he couldn't watch the disciples of the Heaven Sword Palace die here and destroy the foundation of the Heaven Sword Palace. You guys go, I'll stay by myself. Jian Maxian took a deep breath and said, even if I die, I will give the East Sea Palace a painful blow. Old Palace Master, we will stay with you and fight the enemy. Several elders of the Sky Sword Palace stepped forward and spoke fearlessly. No, you will only increase the number of casualties if you stay. It is meaningless. Only I can give them a fatal blow if I stay. Jian Mo Xian shook his head. Old Palace Master, you want to fuse with the power of the formation to give them a fatal blow? Jian Fengyun asked. Yes, only by fusing with the power of the formation can I fight against the Nirvana Realm experts. You guys can use the gap in my battle with them to leave through the teleportation formation. Jian Mo Xian nodded and said, all right, let's not waste any more time. Quickly do as I say. You are the hope of the Heaven's Sword Palace. As long as you don't die, we will rise again one day. Master, let me stay with you. Jian Shin felt like his heart was being cut by a knife. He looked at the old man who had given him a new lease on life. He wanted to fight with him and protect the Heaven's Sword Palace with his life. Jian Shun, remember Master's words. Only by living will there be hope. Master will wait for you to reach the peak of martial arts one day and personally take revenge for me. Jian Mo Xian patted Jian Chen's shoulder heavily and said, Old Palace Master, I swear here that I will destroy the East Sea Palace in my lifetime and take revenge for you. The Sky Sword Palace Master, Jian Fengyun, knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times to Jian Mo Xian. Putong, putong. With Jian Mo Xian kneeling, Jian Shun and the others also knelt on the ground. They knew that with this kneeling, it would be an eternal farewell. They would never see each other again. All right, my Heaven Sword Palace's protective formation won't be able to last much longer. Quickly prepare to leave. Jian Mo Xian took a deep breath and looked at the hope of the Heaven Sword Palace. Pass down my orders. All disciples of the Heaven Sword Palace are to gather at the teleportation formation and be sent out in batches. Jian Fengyun stood up and returned to his usual self. However, when Jian Fengyun and the others arrived at the teleportation hall, it was as if they had been struck by lightning. They were all dumbfounded. They discovered that their last hope, the teleportation formation, had been destroyed by someone. They had lost the ability to teleport. Spy. There's a spy in my Heaven's Sword Palace. Jian Fengyun's face became extremely gloomy. He had never expected that there would be a spy from the East Sea Palace in the Heaven Sword Palace. He had destroyed the teleportation formation in advance and cut off their path of retreat. Palace Master, let's fight it out with them. An elder of the Heaven's Sword Palace who no longer cared about the life and death of a famous general shouted. His eyes burned with flames. All right, let's go back and fight alongside the old Palace Master. Even if we die, we will give the East Sea Palace a painful blow. Jian Fengyun took a deep breath and immediately led Jian Shun and the others back to the main hall. After learning that the teleportation formation of the Heaven Sword Palace had been destroyed by a spy, Jian Mo Xian's heart sank. He seemed to have aged a little. Although he wasn't afraid of death, he was afraid that the Heaven Sword Palace's legacy would be destroyed. If that happened, he would be a sinner of the Heaven Sword Palace. Fengyun, Jian Shun Lier, you are the future hope of my Heaven Sword Palace. I will do my best to open a path for you. When the time comes, break out with all your strength. As long as you survive, my Heaven Sword Palace's legacy will not be destroyed. Jian Mo Xian ordered sternly. Master, this is an order. If you don't want me to die with regrets, then do as I say. If you all die in battle, we will all be sinners of the Heaven Sword Palace. Jian Mo Xian interrupted Jian Chen's words and gave an irrefutable order. Jian Shun, Lier, listen to the old Palace Master. Now is not the time to let your emotions affect your decisions. We must protect the Heaven's Sword Palace's legacy. Jian Fengyun clenched his fists tightly and said with a heart-wrenching expression, Yes. Jian Chen bit his lip and said. Blood seeped out from his lips, but he didn't notice it at all. Disciples of the Heaven Sword Palace, listen up. Follow me and kill our way out. We would rather die standing than live kneeling. Jianmo Xian looked at the familiar and young faces. Although he was reluctant, there was nothing he could do about it. He ordered loudly, "Yes, old palace master." Although many disciples of the Heaven Sword Palace were terrified, they were affected by the atmosphere. They gritted their teeth and said in unison, "Hai Don Tian, even if I die today, I will make the East Sea Palace pay a painful price." Jianmo Xian revealed his true colors and said with killing intent, "Feng Yun, take out all the treasures of the Heaven Sword Palace and distribute them to the disciples. In 2 hours, we will fight to the death with the people of the East Sea Palace." Just as Jianmo Xian and the others were prepared to fight to the death with the experts of the East Sea Palace, an unexpected person appeared outside the Heaven Sword Mountain. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1328. How dare you? The Heaven Sword Palace has been sealed off. Anyone who approaches without permission will be killed without mercy. When the experts from the EC Palace who sealed off the Heaven Sword Mountain saw Yi Chanfeng and Shadow Spirit flying over, their faces darkened as they warned loudly. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. Third brother, why are you wasting so much time talking to them? They're just 2 ants. Just kill them. A level 3 beast emperor expert from the EC Palace wearing a blue robe looked at Yi Chanfeng and Shadow Spirit in a cold manner. He summoned a hammer-shaped quasi-Taoist treasure and attacked them. Crack! Seeing that the hammer-shaped quasi-Taoist treasure was about to bombard Yi Chenfeng's body, Yi Chenfeng stretched out his hand, and a force of more than 100 million pounds erupted. He condensed a giant hand of power and grabbed the hammer-shaped quasi-Taoist treasure. Under the horrified gazes of the experts from the East Sea Palace, he crushed it into pieces. Coup! Witnessing this scene, the experts from the East Sea Palace gulped, and the hair on their bodies stood on end. They felt a chill from head to toe, and they fell into panic. Shadow Spirit, we're going into the mountain. Those who stop us will be killed. A cold light flashed in Yi Chenfeng's eyes as he ordered. Yes, young Master Yi. Shadow Spirit obeyed. His sharp nails kept growing longer and turned into an illusory afterimage as he attacked the shocked experts from the EC Palace. In the blink of an eye, several experts from the EC Palace fell into a pool of blood. Their bodies were directly torn apart by Shadow Spirit's sharp fingernails, and the ground was dyed red with blood. Stop! Who are you? Hearing the screams coming from the foot of the Heaven Sword Mountain, several experts from the EC Palace rushed over immediately and surrounded Yi Chanfeng and Shadow Spirit. I'll kill you. Shadow Spirit revealed a cruel smile. His thin body suddenly turned into an afterimage and appeared in midair. He directly tore apart the experts from the EC Palace who were blocking him. Rumblewind Shadow Ghost killed the experts of the EC Palace and entered the depths of Heavenly Sword Mountain. Deafening sounds of thunder rang out. A thunder mountain flashing with lightning and carrying a terrifying pressure descended from the sky, shattering a large area of ancient trees. It released a force of 10 million Jin, suppressing Yi Chunfeng and Yi Qingyu. Daoist treasure. Although Thunder Mountain had a terrifying momentum, it was only a Dao artifact. It posed no threat to Yi Chunfeng and Lu Li. Before Shadow Ghost could make a move, Yi Chunfeng struck out with his palm. The force of 100 million kilograms mixed with the power of the undead spirit bead formed an astonishingly powerful palm print. It twisted the space within a few miles and pressed down on the Thunder Mountain. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion rang out in the chaotic void, causing the entire void to tremble. After being struck by Yi Chunfeng's palm strike, the Thunder Mountain was sent flying. It tumbled a few times before suddenly exploding in midair, turning into fragments that filled the sky. Hiss! Witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng shattering the Dao artifact with a single palm strike, the experts of the EC Palace who had rushed over were deeply shocked. They looked at Yi Chunfeng with fear in their eyes. They were so scared that they retreated, not daring to get close to them. Hiss, hiss, hiss. When they were afraid of Yi Chunfeng's terrifying strength and wanted to retreat, Shadow Ghost's sharp claws tore through the void and clawed at them. They easily broke through their physical defenses and were directly clawed to death. A large amount of blood and dismembered bodies fell to the ground in midair. In an instant, the entire mountain forest turned into a hell on earth. Rivers of blood flowed, making people shudder. Who are you? Why are you making an enemy of the East Sea Palace? When the experts of the East Sea Palace fell into despair and were desperately trying to escape, the old palace master of the East Sea Palace, Haidong Tian, appeared with several higher-ups of the East Sea Palace. Along with him was the one who had severely injured Jian Maxian, who was suspected to be a Nirvana expert from the Kirin Kingdom. You may not know me, but Hemingway Map knows me. Unfortunately, he is dead. Yi Chunfeng said coldly as he looked coldly at Haidong Tian and the others with his hands clasped behind his back. Who are you? Haidong Tian frowned slightly as he looked at the arrogant Yi Chunfeng and searched his memory. Yi Chunfeng, you are Yi Chunfeng. Haidong Tian, who had been in closed-door training, did not know Yi Chunfeng. However, there were still people in the East Sea Palace who recognized him. They were frightened and lost their composure as they shouted. I didn't expect that after so many years, there would still be people who remember me. Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly as he looked at the East Sea Palace elders who were staring at him with wide eyes. So you're Yi Chunfeng. I have been looking for you for a long time. Haidong Tian's face sank. A light diagram of a vast ocean appeared around his body and locked onto Yi Chunfeng. What? You are angry that the East Sea Palace surrendered to the Kirin Kingdom. They didn't even give you a Gu Dao treasure? Yi Chunfeng sneered as he looked at the Dao treasure sea gods diagram that Haidong Tian had summoned. Not to mention a Dao treasure, even a quasi-sage treasure would not be able to hurt him. Let's see if you can still be so stubborn when I capture you. As he spoke, Haidong Tian spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood essence into the map of the sea god, activating the most powerful attack of the map of the sea god. The map of the sea god projected a vast Tao power that was as vast as the ocean, blasting towards Yi Chunfeng. You think you're qualified to fight with young Master Yi? Shadow Ghost body flashed and blocked in front of Yi Chunfeng. A thunder diagram appeared in his right hand, releasing endless Dao runes. It tore apart the Dao power released by the diagram of the sea god and crashed into it. The diagram of the sea god's diagram was torn apart and almost destroyed. Nirvana. The moment Shadow Ghost made his move, the eyes of the middle-aged man with an extraordinary bearing, wearing a robe embroidered with a python pattern and a pair of soaring cloud boots, flashed with a trace of surprise. Are you from the Central World? The man asked with a gloomy face. He didn't expect another force from the Central World to intervene in the Eastern Continent. You don't deserve to know my identity, Shadow Ghost replied, domineeringly. You want to die? The man in the python robe was a marquis of the Kirin Kingdom. He had never been insulted like this. Looking at Shadow Ghost, who looked down on him, his anger erupted like a volcano. With a roar, 2 Dao diagrams appeared on his body. He held a spear that was a supreme-grade Dao treasure. He stirred the void and stabbed at Shadow Ghost like a stream of light. The serpent-robed man thrust his spear forward, and Shadow Ghost immediately summoned a pair of high-grade Dao artifact blades to meet the attack. They fought fiercely in midair. Because the space of the outer continent wasn't as strong as the Central World, the fierce battle between Shadow Ghost and the man in the python robe destroyed everything. Large swaths of space collapsed, and wild winds blew. The terrifying power caused the entire sky, Sword Mountain, to tremble. What happened? Why did the people of the East Sea Palace give up on attacking? Why is the sky, Sword Mountain, trembling? Jian Maxian, who had limited time to heal, felt the sky, Sword Mountain, tremble violently. He was shocked. After hesitating for a moment, he took the risk of leaving the cracked protective formation to see what was going on. When he left the Sky Sword Palace, he was immediately stunned by the scene before him. He was shocked to see that the space in the distance was like shattered glass. A large area had collapsed. Two illusory figures were fighting fiercely in the collapsed space. One of them was the man in the python robe who had injured him with an invincible aura. But who was the other person? Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1329. Green Spirit Claw. After fighting intensely for half an incense stick's worth of time, the serpent-robed man lost his patience and ignited his powerful bloodline power, transforming into his final form with 3 heads and 6 arms. He also summoned an extraordinarily powerful ancient Dao treasure that gave off waves of dim light as he grabbed at the Shadow Ghost. Although Shadow Ghost was powerful, he was only a rogue cultivator in the Thunder Dominion. He didn't have any Gu Dao treasure on him. Facing the Green Spirit Claw, he could only defend with his daggers. Boom! Shadow Ghost attack was shattered by the Gu Dao treasure's Green Spirit Claw. The sharp claws directly broke through his defense and penetrated his body, causing a large amount of blood to spurt out. The Green Spirit Claw injured the Shadow Ghost, and the man in the python robe followed up with another attack. He controlled the Green Spirit Claw to continue attacking, trying to kill the Shadow Ghost in one go. Shadow Ghost, these 2 Gu Dao treasures are for you. Seeing that Shadow Ghost was in danger, Yi Chenfeng immediately summoned the Gu Dao treasure, Purple Golden Pagoda, and Bronze Turtle, and threw them at Shadow Ghost. The 2 Gu Dao treasures, seeing that Yi Chenfeng had actually summoned 2 ancient Dao treasures for Shadow Ghost, and that the 2 ancient Dao treasures were of extremely high quality, the python robe man's expression changed slightly, and the way he looked at Yi Chenfeng changed. Thank you, young Master Yi. After getting the 2 Gu Dao treasures, Shadow Ghost, who was covered in scratches, was overjoyed. He immediately controlled the 2 Gu Dao treasures to meet the Green Spirit Claw. Shadow Ghost, if you perform well, I'll give you these 2 Gu Dao treasures. Seeing the overjoyed Shadow Ghost, Yi Chenfeng smiled and said, Thank you, young Master Yi. Shadow Ghost was overjoyed. He controlled the Thunder Dao diagram and Wind Dao diagram to merge into the 2 Gu Dao treasures. He activated the power of the 2 Gu Dao treasures and attacked the man in the python robe with a serious expression. Facing the double attack of the Purple Golden Pagoda and Bronze Turtle, the Green Spirit Claw was completely suppressed. The man in the python robe waved his 6 arms and controlled the 6 Dao treasures to attack at the same time. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and help me kill this man. With his attacks suppressed, the serpent-robed man, who was under immense pressure, ordered loudly. Disciples of the East Sea Palace obey orders and assist the Marquis in killing the enemy. Although Shadow Ghost's strength was terrifying, Hai Dong Tian didn't dare to disobey the orders of the man in the python robe. He led more than 20 East Sea Palace experts to besiege Shadow Ghost. Buzz buzz when the warriors of the East Sea Palace surrounded and killed the Shadow Ghost. A terrifying, dizzying force blasted into their sea of souls, damaging their souls and knocking them unconscious. What's going on? Hai Dongtian's eyes widened as he watched the Eastern Sea Palace experts fall from the sky one after another, unconscious on the spot. He looked as if he had seen a ghost, unable to believe what was happening before his eyes. He wasn't the only one who was stunned by this strange scene. The serpent-robed man who was fighting fiercely with the Shadow Ghost also revealed a look of horror and thought of retreating. While the serpent-robed man was distracted, the Shadow Ghost controlled the Gu Dao treasure's bronze tortoise to spin. Like a spinning top, the tortoise slammed into the serpent-robed man and sent him flying. Without giving the serpent-robed man a chance to catch his breath, the Purple Gold Pagoda, which kept growing in size, suppressed the Green Spirit Claw and forced the serpent-robed man to fall to the ground. When the serpent-robed man moved his 6 arms and formed the True Qilin seal to forcefully push back the Purple Gold Pagoda, the Shadow Ghost carried a shocking amount of lightning and ruthlessly bombarded his body, causing his flesh to split open and his body to be charred black. Who is that person? Why did he help the Heaven's Sword Palace at such a critical moment? Jian Maxian saw the serpent-robed man fall to the ground with heavy injuries, and his heart was in turmoil. His brows were tightly knitted together as he tried to figure out the shadow ghost goal. The Kirin Kingdom will remember this grudge. In the future, the Kirin Kingdom will pay you back tenfold. With heavy injuries, the serpent-robed man didn't dare to stay for long. He selfishly abandoned the frightened Hai Don Tian and used blood escape to escape. Do you think you can run away? Yi Chen-feng stepped forward with his sword and suddenly blocked in front of the serpent-robed man. Sword-based Dao patterns shot out from his feet and forced the serpent-robed man to retreat. What? You want to kill me? The serpent-robed man glared at Yi Chen-feng and warned, "This marquis is a marquis of the Kirin Kingdom. If something happens to me, the masters of the Kirin Kingdom in the Eastern Continent will definitely exterminate your 9 generations. Is that so?" Yi Chen-feng revealed a sarcastic expression and said, "It seems that the Kirin Kingdom sent a Nirvana marquis to oversee the Eastern Continent. You are smart." The serpent-robed man revealed a proud smile and said, "Qianling of Gojoseon is in the East Sea Palace. If you leave now, it will be too late." It's him again. He actually dares to come to the Eastern Continent. Thinking of the scene where Qianling of Gojoseon severely injured Yu Nikang, Yi Chen-feng's eyes revealed a thick murderous intent. He gave an irresistible order. "If you don't want to die, send a message to that old man and tell him to come to the Heaven's Sword Palace." What? The serpent-robed man's eyes widened, and he was dumbfounded. He felt that the development of the situation was completely beyond his imagination. He thought that if he mentioned the Qianling of Gojoseon, Yi Chen-feng would back down. But he didn't expect that Yi Chen-feng would ask the Qianling of Gojoseon to come. What is he trying to do? The serpent-robed man's heart was filled with panic. A bold thought appeared in his mind. He can't be trying to kill the marquis, right? I don't like to repeat myself. If the Qianling of Gojoseon doesn't come, then don't blame me for killing you. Yi Chen-feng looked at the stunned serpent-robed man and coldly warned him. Qi and blood escape. Looking into Yi Chen-feng's deep eyes that contained boundless energy, the serpent-robed man felt as if he was being stared at by a poisonous snake. He instinctively smelled danger. Ignoring the damage to his body, he burned all the qi and blood in his body and used blood escape to continue his escape. It seems that if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't be honest. Yi Chen-feng's soul power burst out, forming a terrifying dizziness force that fiercely blasted into the serpent-robed man's soul sea, causing him to feel intense dizziness. When the serpent-robed man regained consciousness, Yi Chen-feng's fists, which were filled with hundreds of millions of kilograms of force, continuously bombarded his body, shattering his flesh and smashing him to the ground. When the serpent-robed man fell to the ground and smashed a large hole in the ground, he no longer looked like a human. He was half dead, and large amounts of blood spurted out from his mouth. I'll give you one last chance. Send a message to the Qianling of Gojoseon and ask him to come to the Heaven Sword Palace. If you don't listen, I'll skin you alive. Yi Chen-feng landed beside the serpent-robed man and ordered without any room for resistance. I'll send a message. Facing death, the serpent-robed man was terrified. He stretched out his bloodied right hand and took out his communication pearl to send a message to the Qianling of Gojoseon. Soon, he contacted the Qianling of Gojoseon. Under Yi Chen-feng's cold gaze, his voice trembled as he begged the Qianling of Gojoseon for help. "I've already contacted the monarch. The monarch and the others will be here soon. Can you let me go?" The serpent-robed man no longer had an arrogant attitude. He looked at Yi Chen-feng with fear and begged for Yi Chen-feng to let him go. He had to wait for the Qianling of Gojoseon to come. Yi Chen-feng waved his palm and knocked the serpent-robed man unconscious. He brought him to the pale-faced and trembling Hai Don Tian. Spare me. Hai Don Tian couldn't figure out how Yi Chen-feng had become so terrifying in just a few short years. However, in order to live, Hai Don Tian had no choice but to beg for mercy. "Don't worry, I won't kill you. However, whether the people of the Heaven Sword Palace let you go or not has nothing to do with me. Yi Chenfeng stepped out with his sword and appeared behind Hai Dong Tian. He released a powerful Dao intent and easily restrained Hai Dong Tian. Then, he lifted Hai Dong Tian and flew toward the Heaven Sword Palace. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1330. Thank you for your help. My Heaven Sword Palace will never forget your kindness. Yi Chenfeng carried Hai Dong Tian in one hand and the unconscious serpent-robed man in the other. When he came to the side of the dumbstruck Jian Maxian came back to his senses and said gratefully, Watermark advertisement, test senior. You don't have to be so polite. I am close friends with Jian Shun, not an outsider. Yi Chenfeng said softly with a faint smile as he looked at the nervous Jian Maxian. You are Jian Shen's friend? Jian Maxian's snow-white eyebrows twitched slightly as he cried out in surprise. He had never heard that Jian Shun had such a powerful friend. However, when Yi Chenfeng mentioned Jian Shun, his uneasy heart calmed down a little. Senior, let's go to your Heaven Sword Palace to talk, Yi Chenfeng said with a smile. Okay. Jian Maxian nodded and opened the powerful restriction around the main hall of Heaven Sword Palace. He brought Yi Chenfeng and Shadow Ghost into Heaven Sword Palace. Chengfeng. Seeing Yi Chenfeng follow Jian Maxian into Heaven Sword Palace, Jian Shun was dumbfounded. He rubbed his eyes and found that he wasn't seeing things. The person flying in was really Yi Chenfeng, who had been missing for a long time. Jian Shun, long time no see. Seeing the excited Jian Shun, Yi Chenfeng smiled. He threw Hai Dong Tian and the serpent-robed man on the ground and slowly walked over. Chenfeng, why are you here? Jian Shun asked in confusion. I heard that you were in danger, so I immediately rushed over. Yi Chenfeng said with a smile. Fortunately, I came in time. You are Yi Chenfeng. Hearing how Jian Shun called Yi Chenfeng, Jian Maxian was even more shocked. He secretly studied Yi Chenfeng. He couldn't imagine that Yi Chenfeng, who was on par with Jian Shun in the past, could grow to such a level in just a few years. He could kill Nirvana experts like he was killing chickens. Young Master Yi, Old Sword Palace Master, this is all my fault. I was blinded by greed and blinded by ambition. Please spare me. In order to live, Hai Dong Tian didn't care about face and kept begging for mercy. Hai Dong Tian, you still have the face to beg for our forgiveness? If Changfeng hadn't defeated you, would you have spared us? Jian Shun glared at the culprits who had almost forced the Heaven Sword Palace into a bottomless abyss. Sword Young Master, as long as you are willing to let me go, I promise the East Sea Palace to be your Heaven Sword Palace's vassal. I will never betray you and will help you unify the Eastern continent. Hai Dong Tian gritted his teeth and threw out a huge temptation. Our Heaven Sword Palace is not that ambitious. We have no interest in controlling the Eastern continent. Jian Shun said coldly, Master, let me kill him. No, don't. Seeing that Jian Shun was not moved, Hai Dong Tian immediately panicked. He looked at Yi Chenfeng and shouted, Young Master Yi, please spare me. I am willing to follow you and serve you forever. You think you deserve to serve Yi Shaoying? The ghost let out a cold snort and said, Aren't you thinking too highly of yourself? Me. Young Master Yi, how do you want to deal with the two of them? Hai Dong Tian and the serpent-robed man were captured by Yi Chenfeng. Jian Maxian didn't dare to make a decision on his own, so he asked for Yi Chenfeng's opinion. Jian Qianbei, you can deal with Hai Dong Tian. As for him, I will use him to lure the Kirin Kingdom's Qianling of Gojoseon. Yi Chenfeng glanced at the pale Hai Dong Tian and said without a trace of emotion, What's wrong? There are other experts from the Kirin Kingdom who came to the Eastern continent this time. Jian Maxian and the others' expressions changed. Yes, he wasn't the one in charge of the Kirin Kingdom. The one in charge was the Kirin Kingdom's Qianling of Gojoseon. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said, Chenfeng, how strong is that Qianling of Gojoseon? If the enemy was too strong, They could only abandon the Heaven Sword Palace and run for their lives. Qianling of Gojoseon was Nirvana's almighty expert. Yi Qianfeng said honestly. Nirvana. Gasps sounded from the Heaven Sword Palace. In their eyes, Nirvana was already unreachable and undefeatable. In their hearts, Nirvana was like a god that couldn't be offended. Jian Maxian, I have a good relationship with Qianling of Gojoseon. If you're willing to let me go, I'm willing to put in a good word for you and resolve this conflict. Hai Dongtian saw a glimmer of hope when he saw the serious expressions of Jian Maxian and the others. Humph, he's just a dead man. As long as he comes to the Heaven Sword Palace, he will definitely die. Yi Qianfeng snorted and said disdainfully. What? Yi Qianfeng's words were like thunder that exploded in Hai Dongtian's soul. He stood there stiffly, as if he had been paralyzed. His mind was blank. Hai Dongtian wasn't the only one stunned by Yi Qianfeng's words. Jian Maxian and the others were also in disbelief as they stared at Yi Qianfeng. They couldn't imagine that he already had the strength to kill Nirvana. Qianfeng, have you already cultivated to the Nirvana realm? Jianxin took a deep breath and suppressed his shock. I haven't cultivated to the Nirvana realm, but dealing with Nirvana's almighty experts isn't a problem. Yi Qianfeng shook his head and said, All right, everyone, leave Qianling of Gojoseon and the other experts of the Kirin Kingdom to me. As for him and the East Sea Palace experts who have fainted in the Heaven Sword Mountain, you can deal with them. However, I don't recommend showing mercy to the enemy. Don't worry, young Master Yi. We know what to do. Jian Maxian nodded and announced the death of Hai Dongtian and the others. Yi Qianfeng and Shadow Ghost stayed in the Heaven Sword Palace as they patiently waited for Qianling of Gojoseon's arrival. Yi Qianfeng wasn't stingy as they waited. He gave Jianxun and Jianmali a Gu Dao treasure and many Dao pills, as well as a simple description of what he had encountered in the past few years. Jian Maxian and the others didn't disappoint Yi Qianfeng either. They didn't show any mercy and killed Hai Dongtian and the others. The death of Hai Dongtian and the others basically announced the destruction of the East Sea Palace. Now, only the Heaven Sword Palace, the East Sea Palace, the Yu family, and the 9 Phantom Mountain were left of the 4 most terrifying sacred grounds of the Eastern continent. Because of Yi Qianfeng, they gradually withdrew from the stage of the Eastern continent. Around 2 days later, several terrifying auras appeared above the Heaven Sword Mountain and enveloped the entire Heaven Sword Palace, causing many disciples to feel suffocated. It's finally here. Yi Qianfeng, who was cultivating in the Heaven Sword Palace, opened his eyes when he sensed the auras of the Qilin Divine Nation's experts. He carried the bound and dying python-robed man and appeared in the air with Shadow Ghost. It's you. When King Qianling saw the person who was standing in the void and blocking his way, his eyes narrowed and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Qianling of Gojoseon, we meet again. Yi Qianfeng's deep eyes shone with sharpness when he saw the Qianling of Gojoseon who had almost killed Yu Nikhang and himself. His icy cold voice stabbed into Qianling of Gojoseon's ears like a knife. I never thought that a small fry like you would be able to make a comeback one day. However, you managed to escape back then. You won't be so lucky this time. At the thought of Yi Qianfeng's treasures, King Qianling's eyes were filled with greed as he spoke in a sinister tone. Since you stole my words, you won't be able to escape today. Yi Qianfeng's lips curled up slightly. He exerted force with his right hand and crushed the head of the man in the embroidered robe in front of Qianling of Gojoseon. Then, he took sword steps and launched an attack at Qianling of Gojoseon. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1331. Courting death. When Qianling of Gojoseon saw Yi Qianfeng's sudden attack, he took out a top-grade Dao artifact, a 6-foot Dao sword engraved with cloud patterns. It dissolved the sword step attack and stabbed at Yi Qianfeng. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test chi. Yi Qianfeng's body was pierced by the top-grade Dao sword, but Yi Chunfeng's face did not reveal a trace of pain. Speed afterimage Qianling of Gojoseon raised his brows. He did not expect Yi Chunfeng's movement to be so fast that he could instantly create afterimages to deceive him. Vertigo technique. After deceiving Qianling of Gojoseon with his sword step, Yi Chunfeng's soul power burst forth, forming a powerful vertigo force. He bombarded Qianling of Gojoseon's soul at close range. Although Qianling of Gojoseon's soul realm was extremely high, he still felt as if his head was being pierced by needles when he was suddenly attacked by the vertigo technique. His reaction became slightly slower. Divine Devil Bloodline ignition. Seizing this instant opportunity, Yi Chunfeng ignited his Divine Devil Bloodline, increasing his strength by 3 times. He held the Dragon's Pine sacred sword in his hand and launched a ferocious attack. The long sword in his hand danced wantonly. The sword light was like a rain of swords, endless and unpredictable. It completely enveloped Qianling of Gojoseon. 9 purple lightning strikes at the critical moment. Qianling of Gojoseon, who had recovered from his shock, shot out layers of purple lightning. They were like boundless waves, constantly bombarding Yi Chunfeng's sword light. They fought fiercely in midair. Horizontal sword, slash wind. Qianling of Gojoseon strongly resisted Yi Chunfeng's endless sword light. Yi Chunfeng decisively changed his move. His entire body fused with the Dragon's Pine sacred sword. The sword tore through space, fused with a terrifying Tao intent, and stabbed towards Qianling of Gojoseon's chest, forcing him to defend with all his strength. Chi! Yi Chunfeng's sword stabbed the top-grade Tao sword in front of Qianling of Gojoseon's chest. Over 150 million Jin of strength and 4 Tao intense erupted, forcibly shattering the Tao sword and forcing Qianling of Gojoseon to retreat. Low-grade sacred sword. You actually have a sacred weapon. Looking at the broken Tao sword, Qianling of Gojoseon and Qianling of Gojoseon felt a huge wave in his heart. He could not imagine that Yi Chunfeng actually had a sacred sword. Heaven-shattering hammer. While Qianling of Gojoseon was in shock, Yi Chunfeng condensed the 4 Tao diagrams and summoned the quasi-sacred treasure sky-breaking hammer. He controlled the Tao diagrams to fuse into the sky-breaking hammer, activating the attack power of the sky-breaking hammer. With a force of 100 million Jin, he attacked Qianling of Gojoseon. The hammer smashed down like a towering mountain, bombarding Qianling of Gojoseon's body. The terrifying power shook Qianling of Gojoseon and forced him to retreat. The space around his body was constantly collapsing under the attack of the sky-breaking hammer. Bloodline ignition. 3 heads, 6 arms. Qianling of Gojoseon did not expect Yi Chunfeng to have so many treasures on him. Without hesitation, he ignited his bloodline and transformed into his strongest ultimate form. 3 heads, 6 arms. Holding the 3 Tao soldiers, he controlled the 3 Gu Dao treasure to attack Yi Chunfeng. Qianling of Gojoseon, you are too shabby. You don't even have a quasi-sacred treasure. Facing Qianling of Gojoseon's counterattack, Yi Chunfeng did not panic. He quickly summoned the fallen soul bell in front of him to resist Qianling of Gojoseon's tide-like attack. Dong, dong, dong. When it hit Qianling of Gojoseon's attack, the fallen soul bell rang like a bell piercing through clouds and splitting stones. The terrifying sound resounded through the 9 heavens, shaking Qianling of Gojoseon's soul violently. Bloody marks appeared on his scaly body, and a large amount of blood seeped out. Another quasi-sacred treasure. How do you have so many treasures? Seeing the power of the fallen soul bell, Qianling of Gojoseon was even more shocked. He suspected that Yi Chunfeng had inherited the mantle of a Nirvana realm master. Otherwise, with his strength and age, it was impossible for him to have so many treasures. 10,000 insect plate. While Qianling of Gojoseon was crying out in alarm, Yi Chunfeng took out his 3rd quasi-sacred treasure. The 10,000 insect plate danced forward and appeared on Yi Chunfeng's body. It reflected a terrifying demonic light and attacked Qianling of Gojoseon, restraining his attack once again. What are you waiting for? Attack with me and kill this person. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's foundation and the trump cards he had, Qianling of Gojoseon's heart trembled. He immediately ordered several experts of the Kirin Kingdom to surround and kill him. Is it useful to have more people? Yi Chunfeng snorted coldly. The golden battle god and Xingluo split from his body and attacked the 7 experts of the Kirin Kingdom. Although there were 2 Nirvana mighty figures among these 7 people, the golden battle god's attack was comparable to a Nirvana mighty figure. No one could block his punch. The all-devouring fist light forcefully blasted a Nirvana mighty figure into a bloody mist in midair. Whose inheritance did you obtain? Seeing the power of the golden battle god, Qianling of Gojoseon's heart trembled as he cried out in alarm. He didn't expect that in just a few years, Yi Chunfeng would become so terrifying that he could threaten him. Qianling of Gojoseon, aren't you talking too much nonsense? Yi Chunfeng was multitasking. He controlled the 4 Dao diagrams to fuse together, turning them into a sea of Dao intent. He continuously injected Dao intent into the 3 quasi-sacred treasures and controlled the 3 quasi-sacred treasures to continuously attack Qianling of Gojoseon, suppressing him in all aspects. True Qilin seemed unable to withstand the attacks of the 3 quasi-sacred treasures. Qianling of Gojoseon quickly threw out the 3 Gu Dao treasures and 3 Dao treasures. While forcefully delaying Yi Chunfeng's attack, his 6 arms moved together and condensed a lifelike and mighty Qilin. It trampled on space and collided with the 3 quasi-sacred treasures. Under Qianling of Gojoseon's full-force attack, the 3 quasi-sacred treasures controlled by Yi Chunfeng were forcefully pushed back. Seizing this opportunity, Qianling of Gojoseon continuously used his killer moves. He launched a counterattack in a desperate situation, wanting to suppress Yi Chunfeng. Mirror image clone. When Qianling of Gojoseon used his killer move to approach Yi Chunfeng, his vision blurred. Suddenly, 2 Yi Chunfeng appeared and attacked him from the left and right. When he instinctively reacted and used his killer move to shatter Yi Chunfeng's mirror image clone, Yi Chunfeng once again stabbed out with a 1-line sword cut. The sword pierced through his defense and pierced his chest. A large amount of blood spurted out wildly from his chest. After using the mirror image technique to deceive Qianling of Gojoseon and injure him, Yi Chunfeng pursued him. He controlled the 3 quasi-sacred treasures to continue attacking Qianling of Gojoseon, completely suppressing him and aggravating his injuries. Demon blood fruit. At the critical moment, Qianling of Gojoseon, who was seriously injured, took out a blood-red fruit and quickly swallowed it. With the help of this fruit full of powerful demon blood, he stabilized his injuries and improved his strength. Qilin destroys the world. After his strength soared to the limit, Qianling of Gojoseon roared. Endless bloodlight and Taoist will gushed out of his body and turned into a mighty Qilin in midair. With a daunting destructive power, it launched a fatal blow at Yi Chunfeng. Sacred blood bead, fuse. In the face of this fatal blow, Yi Chunfeng did not dare to be careless. He decisively fused with the sacred blood bead, burned the dragon's bloodline, and used the real dragon transformation to meet it. For a moment, 2 divine beasts appeared in the void. The blood dragon, emitting a dazzling bloodlight, twisted its body that was thousands of meters long and collided with the Qilin, whose divine power shook the sky and could destroy the world. Endless terrible light burst out like stormy waves, sweeping out layer by layer. The fluctuation caused the entire void to collapse in a large area, as if the end of the world had come. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1332. Heavens, what am I seeing? They actually transformed into 2 divine beasts to fight. Is this really a height that humans can reach? Too powerful. To be able to witness such a shocking battle, I can die in peace. The disciples of the Heaven Sword Palace were deeply shocked when they saw Yi Chunfeng and Qianling of Gojoseon transform into a blood dragon and Qilin, fighting in the air. They all widened their eyes as they witnessed this unprecedented battle. They were so excited that they could not speak. Even Jian Maxian, who was known as the strongest attacker in the eastern continent, felt his heart tremble and his own insignificance. Boom, 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 boom. Earth-shaking explosions rang out continuously in the air. The terrifying energy continued to destroy everything in its path. Although the Heaven Sword Palace had already activated several layers of restrictions, they were still shattered by the overwhelming destructive energy. The entire Heaven's Sword Mountain started to tremble from their destructive battle. Cosmos Sword Formation. Cosmos Sword Rain wearing a low-grade Saint robe. The Golden Dragon robe resisted the impact of the destructive energy. Yi Chunfeng summoned 81 Cosmos Swords, which turned into a dazzling rain of swords. They pierced through the destructive storm and dealt a fatal blow to Qianling of Gojoseon. The unstoppable Cosmos Sword Rain broke through his killing move in one fell swoop, slashing him into the spatial restriction that was riddled with cracks. Qilin Puppet, after swallowing the demon blood fruit and using his most terrifying attack, he was still no match for Yi Chunfeng. This made Qianling of Gojoseon's heart fall to the bottom. He quickly summoned his other trump card, a Qilin Puppet that took more than 10 years to refine using special materials. Its hardness was comparable to a quasi-sage artifact. Kill him for me. Qianling of Gojoseon did not care about the damage to his body. He continuously spat out several mouthfuls of essence blood at the Qilin Puppet, controlling this puppet that was strong enough to fight against Nirvana to attack Yi Chunfeng. Sword Puppet, extinguish for me. The Qilin Puppet roared as it stepped through the void. Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the Sword Puppet to meet it. After fusing with the high-grade Heaven Crystal, the attacking power of the Sword Puppet had reached the level of an early-stage Nirvana Heavenly Realm expert. The Black Dragon Sacred Sword extended out a sword light that looked like a crack in space. It tore through the void and slashed at the Qilin Puppet's hard body. Koch, after taking a hit from the Sword Puppet, the Qilin Puppet, which was as hard as a quasi-holy treasure, was sent flying. A deep sword mark appeared on its body and kept spreading. This was impossible. How could he have such a terrifying clone? Qianling of Gojoseon was well aware of the defense of the Sword Puppet. Even the mighty people of Nirvana would find it difficult to break through its defense with a divine weapon. However, the Sword Puppet was able to split him apart and send him flying with a single strike. While he lost his composure and cried out in alarm, the Golden Battle God killed all of the Qilin Divine Nation's experts in an unstoppable manner. He brandished his dazzling golden fist, bringing with it an incomparable destructive power as he continuously launched attacks at him. When Qianling of Gojoseon was forced to retreat by the Golden Battle God, the 81 cosmic swords fused together and evolved the great Tao of heaven and earth. They slashed at him like a curtain of light that hung high in the sky. With a slash of the sword, mountains and rivers were split apart as the world changed color. The terrifying power forced Qianling of Gojoseon to divert his attention to defend with all his might and withstand the cosmic strike head-on. Although he relied on his absolute strength to withstand Yi Chunfeng's cosmic strike, his injuries worsened as he spat out blood. Qianling of Gojoseon, let's see how many of my attacks you can withstand. With a slash of the sword, Yi Chunfeng's aura was as boundless as the ocean. The 4 great Tao wheels spun wildly and entered the Dragon Spine Sacred Sword, increasing Yi Chunfeng's attack power. When the Bronze Sword Soul fused with the Dragon Spine Sacred Sword, Yi Chunfeng's attack power increased exponentially. He continued to attack Qianling of Gojoseon, who was spitting out blood. Ultimate Sword Black Dragon streaks of sword light slashed down like a black dragon soaring in the sky. The 3 great Tao wills of the Sword Tao and the Killing Tao were rapidly deduced. There was nothing that couldn't be destroyed as it swallowed the heavens and the earth. The sword carried endless Tao wills and could cut through the sun, moon, and stars. It sent Qianling of Gojoseon, who couldn't avoid it, flying dozens of meters away. When Qianling of Gojoseon fell into the boundless mountains, Yi Chunfeng summoned the golden-winged feather and appeared beside him like a golden light. He held the dragon's spine, sacred sword, and continued to attack him. Too strong. Yi Chunfeng's strength is too strong. He actually defeated Nirvana's Almighty. How did he cultivate for the past few years? Sigh. I've been a little narrow-minded all these years. It seems that I can only walk out of this new world if I go out. Jian Maxian and the others were deeply impressed by Yi Chunfeng's strength. It also strengthened their determination to travel to the central world. Qilin Puppet, return. Unable to withstand Yi Chunfeng's attacks, the severely injured Qianling of Gojoseon summoned back the Qilin Puppet that was sent flying by the sword puppet. He used it to protect himself. Qianling of Gojoseon, no one can save you today. Die. Yi Chunfeng and the Golden Battle God attacked Qianling of Gojoseon from both sides. They continued to attack him ferociously, not giving him a chance to catch his breath. You want to kill me? Try again in your next life. A murderous glint flashed in Qianling of Gojoseon's eyes as he suddenly controlled the Qilin Puppet to charge at Yi Chunfeng and the Golden Battle God. The moment he approached them, he suddenly detonated the Qilin Puppet. Boom! The Qilin Puppet exploded. A terrifying force instantly destroyed the space within a radius of several kilometers. The pillars of the world seemed to collapse as everything in the space was destroyed. Where's Chun and Chunfeng? Why is he missing? Will he be fine? Looking at the space that had been shattered by the Qilin Puppet, Jianchun and company realized that Yi Chunfeng and the Golden Battle God had vanished. They revealed looks of panic. If anything happened to Yi Chunfeng, the furious Qianling of Gojoseon would definitely not let the Heaven Sword Palace off. It could be said that Yi Chunfeng's life and death concerned the safety of the Heaven Sword Palace. Dead. He's finally dead. The heavily injured and panting Qianling of Gojoseon saw Yi Chunfeng disappear. He thought that he had died from the explosion of the Qilin Puppet. He secretly heaved a sigh of relief and looked coldly at the terrified members of the Heaven Sword Palace. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the rapidly healing space. Yi Chunfeng, who had just disappeared, appeared unscathed. You? How are you fine? Looking at the unscathed Yi Chunfeng, Qianling of Gojoseon was dumbfounded. He was completely stunned. Have you forgotten what I have? Yi Chunfeng said coldly. Spatial treasure. Qianling of Gojoseon felt despair. In the battle of life and death, he had actually forgotten that Yi Chunfeng had an indestructible spatial treasure. Blood Flight. After failing to kill Yi Chunfeng after using all his trump cards, Qianling of Gojoseon became fearful. He immediately burned his vitality in an attempt to escape. However, Yi Chunfeng was much faster than him. Yi Chunfeng's feet flashed and the sword diagram appeared. In just 3 breaths' time, Yi Chunfeng had intercepted Qianling of Gojoseon, who was using Blood Flight to escape. He continued to attack with the dragon's pine sword. The Qinkuan swords were filled with killing intent, causing the world to tremble. The Qinkuan swords that were engraved with the imprint of the great Tao were like the slashes of the heavens. They constantly sent Qianling of Gojoseon flying, turning his body into a bloody mess. The Dead Spirit Pearl cut off his vitality. When Qianling of Gojoseon was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's sword and lost control of his body, Yi Chunfeng merged with the Dead Spirit Pearl and blasted out a punch. It hit Qianling of Gojoseon's chest, shattering his sternum and cutting off his vitality. Junior, go to hell with I. Qianling of Gojoseon did not beg for mercy after his vitality was cut off by the Dead Spirit Pearl. Instead, he ignored his serious injuries and suddenly hugged Yi Chunfeng. He wanted to self-detonate his Tao power and take Yi Chunfeng to hell with him. However, the moment he hugged Yi Chunfeng, 360 million gene of force erupted like a volcano in Yi Chunfeng's body, shattering his arms. Qianling of Gojoseon's body, which was spurting blood, was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's kick. Bang! Qianling of Gojoseon was like a blood-colored sun. His body exploded in midair, turning into a cloud of blood mist. He died on the spot. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1333. 3 days later, Yi Qianfeng left the Sky Sword Palace and steered his spiritual boat towards the EC Palace. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test with Qianling of Gojoseon, Hai Dongtian, and the others dead. The EC Palace was without a leader. Yi Qianfeng easily killed the 2 Kirin Kingdom's experts guarding the EC Palace and plundered the EC Palace's treasure vault. Following that, Yi Qianfeng headed towards the 9 Phantom Mountain, which had long been closed. He tore open the restrictions and plundered the treasure vault of the 9 Phantom Mountain. Blood River, Shadow Ghost, One-Horned, I'll leave the eastern continent to you 3. With absolute power, Yi Qianfeng took control of the 9 Phantom Mountain. He left the King of Massacre, Shadow Ghost, and the level 9 Heavenly Beast One-Horned Flood Dragon here, allowing them to use the 9 Phantom Mountain as a base to establish a new faction. They would slowly encroach on the 9 Phantom Mountain, the EC Palace, and the Yu family's territories, and control the eastern continent's cultivation resources. Don't worry, young Master Yi. In at most 10 years, I will turn the eastern continent into your backyard, the King of Massacre promised. Good, be careful. If you really meet an enemy that you can't handle, go to the western continent and look for Mo Fengyun or inform me. Yi Qianfeng left a lot of resources for the King of Massacre and steered the spiritual boat away from the 9 Phantom Mountain, heading towards the western continent. 3 days later, the extremely fast spiritual boat crossed a vast area and arrived at the western continent. Mo Fengyun, you were once the overlord of the western continent. It shouldn't be difficult for you to secretly control the western continent now, right? Yi Qianfeng looked at the black-robed Mo Fengyun, who had a slightly excited expression on his face, and said softly, "No problem. At most 3 years, I will be able to control the western continent in my hands." Mo Fengyun patted his chest and promised, "All right, I'll get the Golden Iron Ape to assist you and quickly organize the western continent's cultivation resources." Yi Qianfeng nodded and left them with a large amount of cultivation resources. He steered the spiritual boat and headed toward the most dangerous place in the western continent, the Azure region. Why are there so many people outside the Azure region? Yi Qianfeng steered the spirit boat and appeared outside the western continent's most dangerous land, the Heaven Firmament region, which was shrouded in black fog. When his powerful soul detected many figures outside the Heaven Firmament region, he revealed a surprised expression. The Empyrean domain was known as a forbidden zone for life. Most people who entered the Empyrean domain would die 10 times out of 10. Putting away the spirit boat, Yi Qianfeng landed outside the Empyrean domain and walked towards the dangerous and mysterious Empyrean domain. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" When Yi Qianfeng walked to the edge of the firmament region, which was shrouded in black fog, a tall and slender woman in a tight martial arts suit glared at him and scolded loudly. Her skin was wheat-colored, and her legs were long and slender. She gave off a wild beauty, and she glared at Yi Qianfeng. "What's wrong? Is this heavenly firmament domain your private territory? Can outsiders come here?" Yi Qianfeng asked softly with a faint smile as he met the woman's hostile gaze. "That's right. Azure region is my Black Demon sect's territory. Outsiders are not allowed to enter." The woman replied domineeringly. "Black Demon sect? I've never heard of it." Yi Qianfeng shook his head and said, "Let me give you a piece of advice. Azure region is not something a small sect like yours can control. With your strength, wanting to obtain Azure region's opportunities is no different from courting death. How dare you insult my Black Demon sect? I think you're tired of living." The woman was enraged. A demon beast exuding red light appeared on her hot body. When she merged with her spirit beast, her slender legs suddenly exerted force, interweaving a fierce kick wind and kicking towards Yi Qianfeng. Her temper isn't small. but her strength is a bit weak. Yi Chen-feng shook his head as he looked at the woman who attacked without a word. He gently sent out a palm strike, shattering the air and breaking the afterimages of the woman's kick. The palm strike injured her slender thigh and sent her flying more than 100 meters away. Junior's sister looking at the woman who fell to the ground and wailed in pain. Several black demon sect's peerless kings who were sitting cross-legged revealed looks of surprise. They fused with their spirit beasts and summoned powerful heavenly artifacts to besiege Yi Chen-feng. I'm in a good mood today and don't want to kill anyone, so I advise you not to do it. Looking at the angry black demon sect masters, Yi Chen-feng's expression didn't change as he coldly warned them. Seeing Yi Chen-feng's eyes that were as sharp as swords and feeling the killing intent coming from his body, the black demon sect masters all smelled a thick aura of danger. They instinctively felt fear and didn't dare to approach him for a time. Ayo, 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 ayo. Just as Yi Chen-feng intimidated the black demon sect masters and was about to enter the Empyrean domain, savage beast roars resounded through the dark Empyrean domain. In the next moment, a tall and burly man covered in blood rushed out of the Empyrean domain in a somewhat distressed state. Behind him, a 5-meter-long black heavenly beast with long fangs bared, its entire body black. It was a level 8 heavenly beast. The Black Panther chasing after him appeared outside the vast heaven region. Blackstone Earth Pole, seeing the man being chased by the Black Panther and in mortal danger, Yi Chen-feng revealed a look of surprise. He didn't think he would meet an old friend outside the Empyrean domain. What are you all standing there for? This is a level 8 heavenly beast. Hurry up and leave. The heavily injured Blackstone Earth Pole shouted at the black demon sect masters. His back had been torn open by the Black Panther's claws, revealing his white bones. All of a sudden, an afterimage flashed past Hei Shirtuji's eyes. Yi Chen-feng was using his sword steps, suddenly appearing in front of the level 8 heavenly beast Black Panther. With a light wave of his hand, he sent the ferocious Black Panther flying into the air. Ayo, ayo, losing control of its body. The Black Panther howled in pain as it flew through the air. Its terrifying monster body suddenly split apart, turning into a bloody mist as it died in midair. The black demon sect masters were just about to flee were stunned by the scene in front of them. Their eyes widened, looking at Yi Chen-feng as if they were looking at a monster, horrified by his terrifying strength. The girl who had just been sent flying by Yi Chen-feng's palm strike had a look of lingering fear on her face. Never in her wildest dreams had she imagined that Yi Chen-feng, who looked about the same age as her, would actually be so terrifying, destroying a level 8 heavenly beast with just a single strike. Just as everyone was stunned by Yi Chen-feng's shocking strength, Yi Chen-feng slowly turned around, looking at the stunned Blackstone Earth Pole. Smiling, he said, "Blackstone, we meet again." Yi Chen-feng. Seeing Yi Chen-feng's familiar face, Blackstone Earth Pole's eyes widened. He had never imagined that the person who had casually killed the level 8 heavenly beast Black Panther would be Yi Chen-feng, who had disappeared for so long. "Blackstone, this black demon sect is your faction?" Yi Chen-feng asked with a smile as he looked at the dumbfounded Hei Shirtuji. This black demon sect is my master's faction." Coming back to his senses, Blackstone Earth Pole said, "Yi Chen-feng, what level have you reached now?" Yi Chen-feng, the level 6 Beast Emperor, said honestly, "In just a few years, you have reached level 6 Beast Emperor." Blackstone Earth Pole sucked in a breath of cold air, and the Blackstone Earth Pole's masters who were about to besiege Yi Chen-feng were even more frightened. A level 1 Beast Emperor was an invincible existence in their eyes. A level 6 Beast Emperor was no different from a god in their eyes. "Yi Chen-feng, can you come with me to Vast Heaven Domain to save my master?" "Not long ago, my master and I went deep into Vast Heaven Domain and encountered several terrifying demonic beasts. In order to protect me, my master intercepted 3 demonic beasts." Knowing Yi Chen-feng's current level, Blackstone Earth Pole immediately begged, "Sure, let's go into Vast Heaven Domain." Yi Chen-feng nodded. Then, He healed Yi Chen's injuries and entered the dangerous Vast Heaven domain with him. The Vast Heaven domain was filled with shocking secrets. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1334. The power of the Empyrean domain had weakened so much. Following He Shi Tu into the Empyrean domain, Yi Chunfeng found that the corrosive power of the black fog had weakened a lot, and it was almost harmless to the soul and body. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. I found your master. Let's go. The God-Eater brain was thousands of meters away, and it felt the aura of the demon cultivator. It grabbed He Shi Tu's strong arm and flew over with him. At this time, the demon cultivator, who was covered in blood and scratches, was desperately waving his heavenly blood fiend saber to resist the attacks of 3 level 8 heavenly beasts. After all these years of cultivation, the demon cultivator had reached the peak of level 2 beast emperor and cultivated the earth Tao intent to an extremely high level, and his defense was extremely high. However, level 8 heavenly beasts were equivalent to level 3 beast emperors, and the demon cultivator was affected by the black fog and was besieged by 3 level 8 heavenly beasts. The demon cultivator's injuries continued to worsen, and he was in danger. 9 strikes of the insane demon unable to resist the fierce attacks of the 3 level 8 heavenly beasts. The demon cultivator took a deep breath and burned his blood chi to increase the power of his beast soul form, using his strongest attack. 9 saber lights filled with violent power slashed down, overlapping each other as they slashed at the 3 level 8 heavenly beasts, trying to force them back and buy time to escape. A monster beast with a body over 10 meters long and a tail covered in sharp spikes opened its bloody maw. It stepped on the rubble and rushed forwards, using its hard body to resist the demonic Taoist's 9 slashes of the berserk demon. Boom, boom, boom. 9 saber lights slashed down, cutting the thick rock skin on the demonic beast's back, causing a large amount of blood to ooze out. However, this demonic beast was too terrifying. Although the demon cultivator's 9 strikes of the insane demon injured it, he couldn't seriously injure it. Feeling the sharp pain on its back, the demonic beast was completely enraged, and it crazily attacked the demon cultivator. In desperation, the demon cultivator, who had consumed a lot of energy, could only dodge with all his strength. However, the moment he dodged, the other 2 ferocious demonic beasts appeared, sealing all his dodging space and launching a fatal attack at him. At the moment of life and death, the demon cultivator stimulated all his potential. He crazily burned his blood chi to increase his earth Tao intense defense, resisting the terrifying demonic power of the 3 demonic beasts. Boom, boom, boom. 3 deafening explosions sounded out. The demonic path cultivator had used all of his strength to resist the fatal attacks of the 3 monster beasts. However, his meridians had been shattered by the terrifying monster beasts. He spat out a massive amount of blood as he fell to the ground, almost losing the ability to continue fighting. Is this the place where I will die with his meridians broken? The demonic cultivator, who had lost his combat ability, revealed a look of despair. He regretted coveting the great opportunities in Vast Heaven domain. Just as he was about to detonate his soul energy to deal the final blow to the 3 heavenly beasts, 3 shocking sword lights slashed down from the skies towards the savage demonic beasts. The powerful sword intent caused a vacuum to appear in the space where the sword light slashed down. The entire space seemed to be on the verge of collapsing, and 3 deep sword marks appeared on the ground. Dead, dead. All 3 demonic beasts are dead. What kind of almighty being saved me? The demonic cultivator's eyes widened as he looked at the 3 level 8 heavenly beasts that had been chopped into pieces by the sword light descending from the sky, and he was completely dumbfounded. Master, while the demonic cultivator was stunned by the scene in front of him, a concerned voice entered his ears. The tall and sturdy Hei Shirtuji flew over at an extremely fast speed. "Hey Shirtuji, why are you here? Could it be that the person who saved me was an expert you invited?" The demonic cultivator asked in surprise as he saw Hei Shirtuji appear through the black fog. "Master, it was Chengfeng who saved you." Hei Shirtuji saw that the demonic cultivator's injuries weren't serious, and he let out a long sigh of relief. After witnessing Yi Qinfeng's strength, he was deeply convinced. "Hey, sure, the vast heaven domain isn't something you can encroach upon. You should quickly leave." Yi Qinfeng appeared like a ghost. He tossed a porcelain bottle to Hei Shirtuji, and then his body flashed, and he disappeared into the black fog. This is Yi Qinfeng. How did he become so powerful? The demonic cultivator watched as Yi Qinfeng disappeared in a flash. It was as if he had been struck by lightning, and he was flabbergasted. As he went deeper, the extremely sharp, mysterious energy that had caused him so much trouble appeared. It was like wind blades that tore through space, constantly attacking his body. However, Yi Qinfeng had cultivated his aura body to the second firmament, and his physical body was almost superior to Gu Dao treasures. The mysterious energy in the vast heaven domain posed no threat to him. He quickly flapped his golden wings and passed through the dense, mysterious energy, flying into the depths of the vast heaven domain. Yes, Starwood. After flying for more than 2 hours in the vast heaven domain, Yi Qinfeng forcibly passed through a powerful restriction. He found a 1-meter-tall ancient tree that flickered with starlight. It didn't have any leaves, and its branches were mottled. This ancient tree was an extremely rare body refining wondrous material in the fighting spirit continent, the Starwood. My luck is pretty good. I actually found a Starwood in the vast heaven domain. Yi Qinfeng's eyes lit up. He sped up and flew over. He wanted to directly dig out the Starwood from the roots and move it into the universe mirror. Buzz, buzz. When Yi Qinfeng approached the Starwood, a large number of alluring images appeared before his eyes. A beautiful woman wearing a black tulle dress appeared in front of him. Her skin was crimson, her figure was voluptuous, and her alluring twin peaks were faintly discernible. This woman was Jiao Yuyan. She looked at Yi Qinfeng affectionately, revealing a trace of shyness. With a charming fragrance, she slid into Yi Qinfeng's arms like a beautiful snake, teasing every cell in Yi Qinfeng's body. Buzz. Just as Jiao Yuyan was teasing Yi Qinfeng in every possible way, a powerful soul energy burst out from Yi Qinfeng's soul sea and fiercely bombarded her body. It directly shattered her and formed a powerful illusion. Why do I see Yuyan? After using the vertigo art to shatter the illusion of Jiao Yuyan, Yi Qinfeng, who had cultivated his illusion Dao intent to perfection, shook his head and revealed a trace of a bitter smile. After breaking the illusion around the Starwood, Yi Qinfeng uprooted the Starwood that weighed hundreds of thousands of kilograms and moved it into the universe mirror. He then continued to fly towards the depths of the vast heaven domain. Although Yi Qinfeng was ambushed by many powerful demonic beasts during the journey, his attack power was too terrifying. The heavenly beasts in the vast heaven domain were no threat to him at all. Slowly, a mysterious energy that interfered with the God-Eater brain appeared in the space. This energy seemed to be produced by the mysterious dojo in the vast heaven domain. He was finally going to pass through the black fog. Yi Qinfeng didn't slow down. He resisted the sharp, mysterious energy attack and passed through the space restriction. After flying for more than an hour, Yi Qinfeng passed through the thick black fog and arrived at a desolate and deathly still space that was filled with an oppressive energy. And this was the outer region of the vast heaven domain. It was here that he encountered the sacred beast Qilin. Yinlei's WeChat public number, YLTY83. Those who want to see the original image, please add. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1335. Rumble, When Yi Chun Feng was flying in the outer regions of vast heaven domain, he suddenly felt the ground tremble violently. A huge crack appeared in the ground. Sacred beast Qilin. Yi Chun Feng's powerful soul sensed a terrifying aura from the crack. His expression changed slightly, revealing a dignified expression. With the increase of his soul realm, Yi Chun Feng could accurately sense the Qilin's level. This Qilin in vast heaven domain wasn't a low-level sacred beast, but a mid-level sacred beast comparable to a nirvana heavenly realm expert. Lowly human, why is it you again? I spared you last time, but you still dare to come here? A huge head popped out of the fissure. Looking at Yi Chun Feng, who was standing in midair, the holy beast Qilin recognized him and let out a ferocious roar. The terrifying sound waves shook Yi Chun Feng's eardrums, causing him to feel extreme pain. Golden rock bloodline ignite. Looking at the fire Qilin, which was gradually revealing its true form, Yi Chun Feng decisively ignited the golden rock bloodline and activated the speed of the golden feather. He turned into a beam of golden light in the air and flew towards the depths of the azure heaven domain at an extremely fast speed. Where do you think you're going? The fire Qilin roared, and its flaming forelimbs slapped the hard ground fiercely. Immediately, a terrifying great formation was activated. Pillars of fire pierced the sky and attacked Yi Chun Feng, forcibly trapping him in the activated great formation. Lowly human, obediently become a ghost in my mouth. After activating the ancient formation to trap Yi Chun Feng, the fire Qilin, which was more than 10 meters long, tore through the scorching earth and appeared in midair. It spat out flames that were comparable to sacred fire and burned towards Yi Chun Feng. Before the fire Qilin's sacred fire could get close, the heaven-burning sacred fire and purple beginnings sacred thunder spewed out of Yi Chun Feng's body and quickly gathered in front of him, forming a huge whirlpool that continuously devoured the fire Qilin's sacred fire. Sacred fire, sacred thunder, with your strength, you can actually subdue 2 sacred spirits? The fire Qilin knew how difficult it was to subdue sacred fire and sacred thunder. It revealed a surprised expression, shocked by his ability. Wrath of God. While the fire Qilin was in a state of shock, the dual polarity ancient heavenly water drilled out of Yi Chun Feng's body and fused with the heaven-burning sacred fire and purple beginning sacred thunder, forming a destructive force that shook heaven and earth. It was like the fury of a god as it blasted toward the fire Qilin. Boom! The wrath of divine punishment collided with the fire Qilin's holy flame, and the entire void became blurry and distorted. Sword puppet, golden battle god, Lei Yi, Marquis, Qian Ming, chaos divine beast, quickly come out and help me. The fire Qilin's strength was too terrifying. Yi Chun Feng was definitely not a match for it. He quickly summoned his 5 helpers and gathered everyone's strength to besiege the fire Qilin. Space treasure. When the fire Qilin tore through the distorted space, it discovered the figures of Lei Yi, the Marquis, of Qian Ming, and the others. It immediately guessed that Yi Chun Feng had a spatial treasure and was even more shocked. Human, I've underestimated you. However, no matter how many helpers you have, it's useless. Here, no matter how formidable your means are, you can't change anything. The fire Qilin's bell-sized eyes turned blood red as it crushed space and launched a ferocious attack at Yi Chun Feng and company. It wanted to rely on absolute strength to kill Yi Chun Feng and company and continue protecting the secret of the heaven firmament region. The fire Qilin approached with a suffocating force. Yi Chun Feng's 2 avatars, the sword puppet and the golden battle god, charged forward from both sides. When the sword puppet relied on its indestructible body to withstand the fatal strike from the fire Qilin, the golden battle god's body emitted a light that was even more dazzling than the sun. It continuously blasted out golden fist beams that devoured everything as it continuously bombarded the fire Qilin's massive body. Yi Chun Feng, Lei Yi, and the chaos divine beast also summoned their respective sage treasures and quasi-sage treasures. They attacked the fire Qilin's massive body from various angles. With everyone's combined strength, the fire Qilin, which was comparable to a Nirvana Heaven Realm mighty figure, was sent flying. A large area of damage appeared on the fiery red scales that covered its body as blood seeped out from many places. Combat form, its injuries completely infuriated the fire Qilin. It burned its bloodline power and transformed into its strongest combat form. Its terrifying body was like a mountain, giving off the illusion that it was unshakable. A 10-foot-long, fiery red saber with ancient patterns engraved on it appeared in its hand. It was a medium-grade sage artifact. With a slash of the saber, the chaotic space split into two. A terrifying saber beam dragged a long fiery tail as it slashed at Yi Chunfeng and company. Ayo! The Chaos Divine Beast roared and transformed into its combat form at the same time. It erupted with nearly 150 million kilograms of strength as it quickly waved the ancient bronze coffin to meet the attack. Boom! Facing the fire Qilin's saber attack head-on, a deep saber mark appeared on the ancient bronze coffin that the Chaos Divine Beast was spinning. A force that was beyond what the Chaos Divine Beast could withstand passed through the ancient bronze coffin and into its strong arms. It shook its arms so much that its skin and flesh were torn open. Its entire body couldn't help but retreat. After injuring the Chaos Divine Beast with a single saber attack, the fire Qilin pursued the attack. It quickly waved its fiery red sacred saber and continuously attacked Yi Chunfeng and company. Although Lei Yi and the Marquis of Qianming's strength were terrifying compared to the mid-grade sage beast, the fire Qilin, there was still a huge gap in strength. Facing its ferocious attacks, Yi Chunfeng and company didn't dare to face it head-on. They could only rely on their speed to dodge. Buzz! While Yi Chunfeng and company were dodging, the sword puppet fused with the Black Dragon's sacred sword and turned into a crescent moon. It spun in the void and slashed at the fire Qilin. After fusing with the high-grade heaven crystal, the sword puppet's attack power was comparable to a Nirvana Heavenly Realm expert. It posed a fatal threat to the fire Qilin, forcing it to give up attacking Yi Chunfeng and company. It used its mid-grade sacred saber to face the sword puppet's attack head-on. When the sword puppet's sacred sword crescent moon clashed with the fire Qilin's mid-grade sacred saber, Yi Chunfeng and company seized the opportunity to use their killing moves to attack the fire Qilin. 9 Flood Dragon Portrait. Annihilation. Yi Chunfeng instantly burned 3 bloodlines and condensed 4 Dao diagrams. He completely fused them into the mid-grade sacred treasure, 9 Flood Dragon Portrait. He condensed 9 Flood Dragon spirits and various powerful quasi-sacred treasures and sacred treasures. He attacked the fire Qilin's mountain-like body. Boom, boom, boom. A series of deafening explosions rang out. Resplendent light shone on the fire Qilin's body. The dazzling light made people unable to open their eyes. After being bombarded by the quasi-sacred treasures and sacred treasures again, the fire Qilin's strong body was heavily injured. When it forcefully repelled the sword puppet and faced the incoming quasi-sacred treasures and sacred treasures to launch a fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng and company, the golden battle god blocked in front of it and forcefully stopped its attack. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng and company's killing moves bombarded its terrifying body, aggravating its injuries. Roar! The power of the Dao field fused. The aggravation of its injuries completely enraged the fire Qilin. It roared at the sky and activated the mysterious Dao field hidden in the Azure Heaven domain. A large amount of spiritual energy fused into its body. While repairing its injured body, its strength skyrocketed, bringing the most fatal threat to Yi Chunfeng and company. Please visit the website of the Gathering Cloud Pavilion or visit the website directly. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1336. All of you die. Watermark advertisement test watermark advertisement test. After fusing with the power of the Tao field, the fire Qilin's strength had increased to the extreme. It roared and slashed at Yi Chunfeng and company with its medium-grade sacred saber. The fiery red saber beams caused the world to change color. The overlapping saber beams were like layers of barriers that sealed the world, causing Yi Chunfeng and company to feel suppressed and suffocated. Cosmic sword formation with a thought from Yi Chunfeng. The 81 cosmic swords flew out of his body and quickly condensed into a sword formation above his head to block the fire Qilin's attack. However, the fire Qilin's attack was too ferocious. The cosmic sword formation couldn't withstand it all. It was sliced apart by the fiery saber beams that tore through the void, threatening the lives of Yi Chunfeng and company. Flood Dragon Seal. Transform into a flood dragon. Lei Yi, who was the strongest and had 1 foot in the Nirvana heavenly realm, stood in front of Yi Chunfeng. He controlled the low-grade sacred treasure, the Flood Dragon Seal, to grow bigger and block the fatal attack of the fiery saber beam. Dong! Dong! A series of shocking sounds rang out as the Flood Dragon Seal, which was controlled by Lei Yi, was forcibly sent flying. The terrifying power caused Lei Yi's blood and qi to churn, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. While Lei was fighting the fire Qilin with his own strength, the sword puppet and golden battle god appeared beside the fire Qilin from both sides. They attacked its strong body with all their might and drew its energy. Little Qilin, take this attack from your grandpa Chaos. The Chaos Divine Beast ignored its injuries and quickly approached the fire Qilin. The Chaos 5 elements light and nearly 150 million kilograms of power poured into the ancient bronze coffin. Like a meteorite that had fallen into the mortal world, it slammed into the fire Qilin. I'm your grandpa. The fire Qilin roared angrily. The demonic energy in its body was like boiling water as it boiled violently. It faced the attacks of the golden battle god and the sword puppet head-on. It waved its medium-grade sacred saber and slashed at the ancient bronze coffin, sending it flying and forcing the Chaos Divine Beast back. Damn it, little Qilin, when your grandpa Chaos recovers his strength, I'll sit you to death. Being forced back by the fire Qilin, the Chaos Divine Beast who spat out blood roared angrily. That day will never come. Today, your grandpa Qilin will devour you. The fire Qilin was also like a ruffian. He attacked the Chaos Divine Beast with his mid-grade Saint Blade. Marquis Qianming, Lei Yi, help me. After fusing with the power of the Tao field, the fire Qilin's strength was too terrifying. Ordinary Saint artifacts couldn't do anything to it. Left with no other choice, Yi Chunfeng summoned the 9 dragons Jade Annulus. Together with Lei Yi and Marquis Qianming, they channeled their soul force into the 9 dragons Jade Annulus, causing it to grow bigger and bigger. It condensed into 2 deadly dragons that flew towards the fire Qilin. Kathy, 2 murderous dragons were too frightening. The space they passed was shattered, and they posed a fatal threat to the fire Qilin. The fire Qilin instinctively gave up on killing the chaotic divine beasts and tried to dodge. However, the moment it dodged, the sword puppet and the golden battle god appeared on its left and right, restricting its dodging space, making it unable to dodge the fatal attacks of the 2 deadly berserk dragons. Boom boom, one of the 2 deadly dragons bombarded the fire Qilin's body, and the terrifying power of the dragon destroyed its body crazily, shattering its thick scales and sending it flying. Take advantage of its weakness and kill it with all your might. Yi Chunfeng quickly consumed an ancient Tao pill and quickly recovered his almost dried-up spiritual power. With Lei Yi, Marquis Qianming, and the others, they controlled their respective saint artifacts and quasi-saint artifact to attack the severely injured fire Qilin that had fallen 100 meters away. Tao field power, spatial seal. After being severely injured, the fire Qilin immediately mobilized the power of the Tao field and formed a spatial seal on its body to block the attacks of Yi Chunfeng and the others. However, the golden battle god and the sword puppet's attacks were too terrifying. The seal formed by the Tao field's power couldn't withstand them and was quickly torn apart by the two clones. Following that, Yi Chunfeng, Lei Yi, and Marquis Qianming controlled their respective saint artifacts and quasi-saint artifacts to attack the Fire Qilin. Under their relentless attacks, the ground where the Fire Qilin fell kept sinking. Cracks appeared in space as if it could be destroyed at any moment. After being bombarded by the quasi-saint artifacts and saint artifacts, the Fire Qilin's injuries worsened. However, in the vast heaven domain, it could continuously mobilize the power of the Dao field to weaken the attacks. Yi Chunfeng and the others' continuous attacks couldn't kill it. Fire Qilin life and death disc using the power of the dojo to resist the bombardment. The blood-drenched Fire Qilin used its inherited magical ability. It turned into a Dao disc that could reverse life and death. It shook off the bombardment of holy treasures and quasi-holy treasures and created a bottomless pit. Die! Seeing the Fire Qilin coming out, Yi Chunfeng shot out the Saint Destruction Pearl at the Fire Qilin. Boom! The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The Saint Destruction Pearl exploded, releasing a destructive force that shattered the space within a few miles. The entire space was pitch black without any light. Although the Fire Qilin was strong, it still couldn't withstand the Saint Destruction Pearl's attack head-on. The Dao field's power kept shattering, and its powerful body was riddled with holes. At the critical moment, the Fire Qilin spat out a powerful monster core. It controlled the monster core to fuse with the Dao field's power, forming a defensive light that enveloped its severely injured body and forcibly weakened the Saint Destruction Pearl's destructive attack. However, the Saint Destruction Pearl's power was too terrifying. The Fire Qilin's monster core and Dao field's power still couldn't withstand it. Lei Yi, Marquis Qianming, continue to help me. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and controlled the surging Dao, intent to fuse with the 9-dragon jade annulus. Lei Yi and Marquis Qianming also spared no effort to fuse their Dao intent into the 9-dragon jade annulus. After fusing with Yi Chunfeng and the other two's Dao intent, the 9-dragon jade annulus shone with endless light. 2 deadly dragons didn't come out of the jade annulus and attacked the Fire Qilin, who was hanging by a thread, wanting to kill it in one fell swoop. Bang! The 2 murderous dragons bombarded the Fire Qilin's monster core and swallowed it in an instant. Then they bombarded the Fire Qilin's batter body and sent it flying thousands of meters away like a cannonball. It heavily smashed into the ground, creating a huge crater. Attack together and kill it. After successfully injuring the Fire Qilin, Yi Chunfeng ignored the exhaustion of his body and flew over with his 2 clones, Lei Yi and the others. They continued to attack the Fire Qilin, determined to kill it. Fire Qilin, if you're willing to submit to me, I can consider sparing your life. Looking at the Fire Qilin that was getting more and more injured and had almost no strength to resist, Yi Chunfeng tried to subdue it. Let me submit to you in my next life. The dying Fire Qilin roared. A hexagonal array disc appeared on its body and bombarded Yi Chunfeng and the others. When it was 3 meters away from Yi Chunfeng and the others, the hexagonal array disc emitted a black light and fused with the Dao field's power. It restricted the space around Yi Chunfeng and the others, forming a terrifying spatial black hole. It directly swallowed Yi Chunfeng and the others and disappeared from the chaotic outskirts of the vast heaven domain. Visit the website, Gather Cloud Pavilion, or visit the website directly. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1337. Come back. After being swallowed by the black hole, Yi Chunfeng immediately called everyone back into the universe realm to prevent them from being injured by the sharp spatial cracks. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. After about 10 breaths of time, Yi Chunfeng found himself in a desolate space filled with death aura through the universe realm. He rested for a moment to recover his exhausted soul power and injuries before appearing outside. What a desolate space. As Yi Chun-feng looked at the gray and hazy space filled with dense death qi, he felt a sense of desolation in his heart. As far as the eye could see, there were hills everywhere. Many hills even had graves on them. Furthermore, the spiritual energy in the air was extremely thin. If one did not sense it carefully, one would not be able to sense it. After observing the surroundings, Yi Chun-feng sat cross-legged on the cold ground and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce the situation in this desolate space. In the power of a dojo. This space is actually a small dojo. The God-Eater brain quickly deduced for more than 2 hours. Yi Chun-feng's brows were tightly knitted together. He found that this space was evolved from small dojo. It was almost impossible for him to break through the spatial walls and leave this place. Just who left behind this dojo in the Azure Heaven Domain? Yi Chun-feng was absolutely certain that the vast Heaven Domain was a dojo, and the space he was in was a side dojo. However, after the God-Eater brain's deduction, Yi Chun-feng found that this side dojo was very mysterious. With the power he controlled, he couldn't force his way out. Sigh, let's explore this space first. Yi Chun-feng sighed softly. He chose a direction and flew into the depths of the space formed by the dojo. White bones. Why are there so many white bones here? When Yi Chun-feng passed through a long and narrow canyon, he found that there were piles of bones in the canyon. There were big and small bones, human and demon. Among them, there were 2 sets of white bones that were hundreds of feet long. The bones were as sharp as swords, piercing the heavens and emitting a terrifying aura. Could this be the skeleton of a holy beast? While flying, Yi Chun-feng saw an unimaginably huge skeleton scattered in the depths of the canyon. Each bone was over 100 feet long, and so were even over 1,000 feet long. If the scattered bones were pieced together, they could form a beast bone that was over 1,000 feet long. More importantly, this giant skeleton exuded the aura of a holy beast, which made Yi Chun-feng suspect that this was the skeleton of a holy beast. Catch a wind, Yi Chun-feng landed next to the Saint Bee skeleton and was about to move a giant bone spike. Cracks suddenly spread out on the surface of the bone spike. In the blink of an eye, this Saint Bee skeleton that had been here for countless years and had been severely eroded by the passage of time disintegrated into a large amount of bone dust that drifted away with the wind. Sigh. The life essence of this Saint Bee skeleton has already been lost, is no longer valuable. Looking at the weathered Saint Bee skeleton, Yi Chun-feng sighed softly, revealing a look of regret. After flying out of this canyon filled with piles of white bones, Yi Chun-feng continued to fly into this desolate space, looking for a possible exit. Suddenly, he felt the space in front of him become restless. Tens of thousands of soul forces drilled out of the grayish-brown ground and filled the space, forming a black storm that covered the sky and swept towards him. Soul Storm seeing the Soul Storm sweeping towards him at an extremely fast speed, Yi Chun-feng did not reveal a look of panic. He also did not hide in the universe mirror. Instead, he sat cross-legged on a hill and watched in silence as the Soul Storm came closer and closer, swallowing him up. Inside the Soul Storm, Yi Chun-feng immediately felt tens of thousands of departed souls crazily tearing at his flesh. They wanted to devour his flesh and drink all the blood in his body. However, his body was comparable to Gudao treasure. When he used the golden body secrets, his body was covered with a layer of defensive golden light. The departed souls in the Soul Storm could no longer harm his body. God-Eater brain, devour. Enduring the devouring of the numerous departed souls, Yi Chun-feng immediately controlled the God-Eater brain to appear in his sea of soul. It turned into a black hole and crazily devoured the departed souls in the Soul Storm. The God-Eater brain was the nemesis of all souls. As it crazily devoured, the God-Eater brain began to divide its brain cells and grow stronger. Grown. Suddenly, an extremely penetrating roar entered Yi Chun-feng's soul sea. Yi Chun-feng opened his eyes abruptly and saw that in the pitch-black Soul Storm, a flood dragon that was several hundred feet long covered in thick scales, with a single horn on its forehead and 5 razor-sharp claws, was twisting its enormous body and attacking Yi Qianfeng. Soul Flood Dragon. Looking at the horned flood dragon that was attacking him, Yi Qianfeng's sharp eyes immediately saw that this flood dragon was not a real existence. It was formed from thousands of departed souls, and the energy it contained was extremely terrifying. As the Soul Flood Dragon attacked, Yi Qianfeng increased the power of the God-Eater brain to the limit. He kept expanding the black hole and swallowed the flood dragon that was spitting out soul light. Roar! Under the God-Eater brain's frenzied devouring, the massive body of the Soul Flood Dragon was constantly being shredded. In just a dozen breaths, the God-Eater brain had devoured a large number of departed souls. It continued to divide its brain cells. Soon, more than an hour had passed. The soul storm that had swept across heaven and earth gradually dissipated, revealing Yi Qianfeng, who was sitting cross-legged and unscathed. The God-Eater brain had devoured tens of thousands of departed souls and divided a large number of brain cells. However, as the God-Eater brain evolved again and again, it needed more energy. The devouring just now was not enough for it to evolve further. It was unknown when the soul storm would form in this training hall again. Facing the terrifying soul storm, Yi Qianfeng revealed a look of anticipation. If he allowed the God-Eater brain to continue devouring souls, it would definitely evolve again. At that time, his chances of leaving this damned place would be greatly increased. With anticipation, Yi Qianfeng continued to fly in the training hall. As he flew, he discovered a mountain wall that was as smooth as a mirror not far ahead. There was a line of vigorous and powerful words engraved on the mountain wall, as well as a broken ancient array flag. I, the great Flux Heaven Saint, know that I don't have long to live. I leave the mid-grade sacred treasure, the Black Raven's sacred flag, to the fated person. I hope that one day, the Black Raven's sacred flag can reappear in this world. Looking at the ancient words inlaid on the mountain wall, Yi Qianfeng's eyes immediately turned to the broken ancient array flag. His eyes immediately lit up. Could it be that a heaven saint of the celestial race was buried here, and he had left behind a mid-grade sacred treasure? With his current strength, he could unleash half of the power of a mid-grade sacred treasure without consuming much energy. It could be said that a mid-grade sacred treasure in his hands was more useful than a supreme-grade sacred treasure, the 9-dragon jade annulus. Junior, if you don't want to die, don't approach the ancient array flag. Suddenly, a deep voice sounded in Yi Qianfeng's ears. Yes, there are still people who are not dead in this space. Yi Qianfeng raised his eyebrows and revealed a look of surprise. He immediately controlled the God-devouring brain to sense his surroundings, but he did not find the person who had sent the soul voice transmission. The temptation of the Black Raven's sacred flag was too great. After pondering for a moment, he still walked towards the mountain wall that was as smooth as a mirror. Seeing that Yi Qianfeng did not listen to his advice, the mysterious voice did not say anything else. When Yi Qianfeng reached out to touch the Black Raven sacred flag embedded in the light wall, endless black light spread out from the sacred flag, sealing the space around Yi Qianfeng's body. In the next moment, a crack appeared on the smooth mountain wall, and an old man with shriveled skin and white hair walked out of the mountain wall. Please visit the website of the book, Cloud Gathering Pavilion, or visit the website directly. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1338. 3-star heavenly sage looking at the white-haired old man in front of him. Yi Qianfeng's pupils shrank into the most dangerous pinholes. He had never expected that the great Flux Sage who had left behind the Black Raven sacred flag was still alive. He also understood why the mysterious voice had warned him just now. If an ordinary person faced a 3-star heavenly sage from the celestial race, there would be no chance of survival. I have forgotten how many years it has been, but I have finally seen a living person again. The great Flux Sage looked at Yi Chen Feng with a deep gaze and said in a hoarse voice. It seemed that the Black Raven's sacred flag was a trap. Although the great Flux Sage in front of him was very frightening, Yi Chen Feng did not reveal any trace of panic and said in a calm voice, "It's too late to be afraid now." The great Flux Sage said without a trace of emotion, as if he already had Yi Chen Feng's life and death in his hands. "How can I be afraid of a dying person like you?" Yi Chen Feng sneered, and the killing intent accumulated in blood and bones emitted from his body. He raised the dragon spine's sacred sword high and pointed it at the great Flux Sage, saying, "Since you provoked me, let me send you to the Western Paradise." Interesting, a mere 6th-grade battle beast emperor from an inferior plane dares to provoke this sage. The great Flux Sage's eyes shone brightly as he said in a hoarse voice, "This sage will let you know that an ant is an ant, and an ant cannot shake the heavens." Heavens? You are really flattering yourself. If you were so powerful, how could you be reduced to such a state, trapped here like a ghost, and unable to get out? Yi Chen Feng mocked. "You." Yi Chen Feng's words touched the great Flux Sage's sore spot, making him angry and mad. Surging killing intent gushed out of his body like a surging tide, turning into a huge wave that rushed toward Yi Chen Feng, wanting to tear him apart and destroy him. Absolute Sword Black Dragon. A terrifying wave of killing intent swept over. Yi Chen Feng did not dodge. The sword diagram, life and death diagram, the 5 elements diagram, and a heaven and earth diagram appeared on his body. The bronze sword spirit melded into the dragon spine divine sword. As the sword slashed out, the 4 great Tao diagrams revolved at an extreme speed. A black dragon appeared, and all the light in the space was swallowed up at this moment. The sky seemed to be split apart by this sword. A terrifying sword mark tore through the layers of air, forcibly splitting open a gap in the giant wave of killing intent. Yes, the 4 great Tao diagrams, the bronze sword spirit, you really are the best gift the heavens have given me. Seeing the 4 Tao diagrams floating above Yi Chen Feng's head and sensing the power of the bronze sword spirit, Grand Cord was pleasantly surprised. Even in the heaven domain, it was difficult to find a genius like Yi Chen Feng. If he could kill Yi Chen Feng's soul and occupy his body, he might be able to live another life and leave this damn place. Gift, you are thinking too much. I will be your nightmare. Yi Chen Feng was the least afraid of being possessed. With a sneer, he fused with the dragon spine divine sword and slashed at Grand Cord Saint. Courting death, Grand Cord Saint's gaze locked onto Yi Chen Feng. He stretched out his shriveled hand, and a large amount of heavenly power converged to form a ghost claw that grabbed at Yi Chen Feng. Sword puppet, golden battle god. The instant the ghost claw came, Yi Chen Feng summoned 2 clones and attacked the ghost claw together. Boom, boom, boom. 3 powerful explosions echoed as Yi Chen Feng attacked together with his 2 clones. They directly shattered the ghost claw and closed in on Grand Cord Saint, whose expression changed slightly. Cosmos sword formation with a thought from Yi Chen Feng. The 81 Cosmos swords flew out and turned into a sword formation that slashed at Grand Cord Saint, wanting to trap him inside. However, Grand Cord Saint was a 3-star heavenly saint after all. His reaction was extremely fast. He took a light step forward, and his old body immediately became blurry. He easily dodged the attack of the sword formation and appeared 100 meters away. What a fast speed! Although the great Flux Sage had yet to reveal his full strength, the speed of his movement just now made Yi Chen Feng extremely shocked. The supreme experts of the heaven domain really can't be underestimated. Even if he is on the verge of death, he is still much faster than me. Who would have thought that with your strength, you would have 2 clones that are dozens of times stronger than you? This is really surprising. Grand Cord Saint looked at Yi Chen Feng's 2 clones with a burning gaze. He had a feeling that Yi Chen Feng might be his opportunity to be reborn, and the killing intent in his heart became even thicker. After his first attack failed, Yi Chen Feng no longer held back. He ignited his 3 major bloodlines at the same time, and the power of his 5 major acupoints exploded. When he merged with the Saint Blood Pearl, his strength rose steadily, reaching a level comparable to the Nirvana realm. Interesting. The surprises you give me are getting bigger and bigger. Sensing Yi Chunfeng's rising strength, Grand Court Saint was not alarmed but delighted. In his eyes, the stronger Yi Chunfeng was, the more valuable he would be to him. Chaos Divine Beast, Late E Marquis, Qianming, Linger, quickly come out and help me. When his strength reached the limit, Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned his 4 helpers, preparing to kill Grand Court Saint and obtain the mid-grade sage treasure Black Crow sacred flag. Spatial treasure. Looking at the Marquis of Qianming, Lei Yi, and the others, the greed in the eyes of the great Flux Heaven Saint became even more intense. A powerful bloodline power appeared in his aged body, guiding the power of the heavens and the space to frantically fuse with his body. Kill. While Grand Court Saint was raising his strength, Yi Chunfeng and the rest surrounded him, summoning their respective sage treasures and quasi-sage treasures to launch fierce attacks. Green Heaven Secret Art, Heavenly Tao Disc. When Yi Chunfeng and the rest closed in, Grand Court Saint's aged hands moved rapidly, condensing Heavenly Tao discs filled with the power of heaven. They twisted the void and bombarded Yi Chunfeng and the rest. 9 Flood Dragon Diagram Break. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned 9 Flood Dragon Diagram and controlled the 4 Tao diagrams to fuse with it, condensing 9 Flood Dragon spirits to forcefully shatter the Heavenly Tao discs. When Yi Chunfeng used 9 Flood Dragon Diagram to break the Heavenly Tao discs, Lei Yi and the rest's attacks approached Grand Court Saint's body. Just as the attacks were about to hit him, 9 black crows suddenly appeared and collided with the sage treasures and quasi-sage treasures, neutralizing the attacks. Black Crow's Sacred Flag's artifact spirit looking at the 9 black crows surrounding Grand Court Saint. Yi Chunfeng immediately recognized them as the artifact spirit of Black Crow Sacred Flag. Their power surpassed ordinary lower-grade sage treasures. Shriek, shriek, shriek after neutralizing the attacks of Lei Yi, Marquis Qianming, and the others. The 9 black crows suddenly launched an attack. They turned into 9 streaks of black light and blasted over, knocking away the holy treasures and quasi-holy treasures one after another, posing a fatal threat to Lei Yi and the others. Universe Realm, withdraw. At the crucial moment, Yi Chunfeng withdrew Lei Yi and the rest into the Universe Realm and avoided the fatal attacks of the 9 black crows. After the attack failed, the 9 black crows changed their target and attacked Yi Chunfeng, causing an intense collision with the 9 flood dragon spirits. Grand Court Saint was a 3-star celestial sage, so he could completely unleash the strongest attack of Black Crow's Sacred Flag. After a series of fierce collisions, the 9 flood dragon spirits were shattered. The 9 black crows' remaining power didn't decrease as they bombarded Yi Chunfeng, sealing off all his escape routes and launching a fatal attack. Boom, 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 the space Yi Chunfeng was in immediately shattered by the 9 black crows' attacks, causing the entire space to fall into chaos. Yi Chunfeng, who had been attacked head-on, disappeared without a trace. Mobile reading site. Book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1339. Young Master Yi. Who is that person outside? How can he be so powerful? Lei Yi asked with lingering fear. He didn't expect that there would be such a terrifying existence in the outer continent. He was definitely not a match for him. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. That person should be a powerful expert of the Heaven Clan. He hid in the universe mirror in time. So Yi Chunfeng whispered, Young Master Yi, where are we now? Why is there a powerful expert of the Heaven Realm here? Lei gasped and asked, We are now in the most dangerous place in the Western continent, Tiansong region. This place seems to be the dojo left behind by a big shot. According to the current situation, Tiansong region should be related to Tiansong region. Yi Chunfeng analyzed. Boss, how are you going to deal with that old chaos divine beast outside? He asked in a loud voice. That great flux heaven saint is not a threat. The real threat is the black crow sacred flag. Yi Chenfeng pondered for a while and summoned the nine-dragon jade annulus. He handed it to Lei Yi and said, Lei Yi, I will lend you this treasure. When we fight, use it to suppress the black crow sacred flag. Leave the rest to us. Okay. After receiving the nine-dragon jade annulus, Lei Yi immediately felt its terror. His eyes lit up and he nodded. Boom, boom, boom. When Yi Chenfeng and the others were discussing the plan to deal with the Great Flux Heaven Saint in the Universe Mirror, the Great Flux Heaven Saint discovered the existence of a Universe Mirror. He immediately controlled the 9 black crows to attack the Universe Mirror. He wanted to tear apart the Universe Mirror's defense and kill Yi Chenfeng and the others. However, the Universe Mirror's defense was too shocking. The Great Flux Heaven Saint controlled the Black Crow's sacred flag to attack for an incense stick's worth of time, but he still couldn't break through the Universe Mirror's defense. Come on, let's go out. Taking advantage of the moment when the Great Flux Heaven Saint used up a lot of his Tao power and stopped attacking, Yi Chenfeng and the others left the Universe Mirror and appeared outside. You finally came out. Seeing the sudden appearance of Yi Chenfeng and the rest, Great Flux Heavenly Saint took a deep breath and continued to control Black Crow's sacred flag without sparing any effort. He was determined to kill Yi Chenfeng and the rest and seize everything in their possession. 9 dragons, jade, annulus. As the 9 black crows attacked, Lei Yi immediately spat out a mouthful of blood essence towards the 9-dragon jade disc, releasing a powerful Tao energy into the 9-dragon jade disc, controlling the 9-dragon jade disc to become bigger and bigger, suppressing the 9 black crows. Screech, screech being suppressed by the 9-dragon jade annulus. The 9 black crows immediately let out painful howls. They were ruthlessly pressed to the ground by the 9-dragon jade annulus, unable to move. The Dragon Clan's supreme grade holy treasure. Who are you? How can you have the Dragon Clan's treasure? Sensing the dragon might from the 9-dragon jade annulus, the Grand Flux Sage's expression changed and he lost his self-control. Take him out while he is down. Yi Chenfeng ignored the Great Flux Saint. While the 9-dragon jade annulus was suppressing the 9 black crows, he joined forces with the Chaos Divine Beast, Marquis Qianming, and the Spirit Fish to attack the Great Flux Saint. The Heavenly Tao plate sealed the void. The Great Flux Saint's hands moved rapidly, gathering the powerful heavenly power in front of him to form a huge heavenly Tao plate. It twisted the void and forcibly resisted the attacks of Yi Chenfeng and the rest. When the Chaos Divine Beasts, the Marquis of Qianming, and the Golden Battle God forcefully broke through the heavenly Tao disc, the spirits of the 9 Jiao dragons emerged from the 9 Jiao dragon diagram, floating above Yi Chenfeng's head and attacked him, forcing him to dodge with all his might. Buzz, buzz the instant the Great Flux Saint dodged. The sword puppet and the black dragon's sacred sword fused together and turned into a bewitching crescent moon. It streaked across the sky and ruthlessly slashed at him with a sword shadow that was dozens of feet long. The sword puppet's attack was too fast, and with the 9 flood dragon spirits sealing the space where he could dodge, he had no choice but to face the attack with all his strength. When he activated the power of his bloodline and mobilized the boundless heavenly power in his body to resist the sword puppet's attack, the spirit fish stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and circled behind him. True God's bloodline ignition, true God's blood shadow. The spirit fish shouted, and rays of blood-red light gushed out of her body, turning into a tall and mighty blood shadow in the void. Carrying the formidable power of a true God, it ruthlessly bombarded the back of the Great Flux Heavenly Sage Empress, shattering her defenses and injuring her body. True God's power. How can you have true God's power in your body? Don't tell me you are his descendant. Great Flux Sage, who had blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth, seemed to be greatly frightened. He used a strange footwork and dodged to the side. He looked at the cute spirit fish in alarm and shouted loudly. His descendant? Don't tell me. Yi Chenfeng raised his brows, and a bold guess appeared in his mind. Old fart, don't be so paranoid. Eat your grandpa primal chaos coffin. The chaos divine beast roared, and primal chaos 5 elements light, as well as close to 150 million kilograms of power poured into the ancient bronze coffin. He then threw it with all his might toward the great flux saint who had lost his self-control. Black Raven's sacred flag, return. Facing the meteorite-like ancient bronze coffin, the lightly injured great flux saint decisively recalled the Black Raven's sacred flag that had sealed the void and used his saint tool to resist. But the 9 Black Ravens were suppressed by the 9 dragons' jade annulus, which greatly reduced the might of the flag and greatly reduced the battle prowess of the Great Flux Saint. While the Great Flux Saint relied on his absolute strength to force back the ancient bronze coffin, Yi Chenfeng used sword steps to close in on him. Under his control, the 81 Cosmos swords combined together and transformed into a gigantic Cosmos sword. Fusing with the bronze sword soul, the sword slashed through the void toward the Black Raven sacred flag above the Great Flux Saint's head. Boundless, rebounding energy surged out and attacked the Great Flux Saint's body. When the Great Flux Saint was forced back a step by the terrifying attack of the Cosmos Sword, Marquis Qianming controlled the quasi-sage treasure Vidra Copper Bull to collide with him. The terrifying impact forced the Great Flux Saint to take 3 steps back, and the qi and blood in his body churned violently. Desolate furnace of heaven, the Great Flux Saint took a deep breath and suppressed his churning qi and blood. When he threw out the Black Raven's sacred flag and forced back the Golden Battle God and the Sword Puppet, his body transformed into a terrifying desolate furnace and released a terrifying power of heaven to attack Yi Chenfeng's group. 9 Dragons Diagram. Vajra Copper Bull. Resist facing the killing move of the Great Flux Saint. Yi Chenfeng and Marquis Qianming immediately used their respective sage treasures to resist, forcibly neutralizing the destructive attack of the desolate furnace of heaven. Meanwhile, the spirit fish stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and circled behind the Great Flux Saint again, summoning the blood shadows of true gods to attack his body. Boom! The Great Flux Saint's body trembled as he was injured by the blood shadows of true gods condensed by the spirit fish. This saint will remember this enmity. When this saint recovers, he will definitely kill all of you one by one. His injuries worsened again and again, causing the Great Flux Saint to have thoughts of retreating. He wanted to forcefully summon the 9 Black Ravens suppressed by the 9 Dragons' jade annulus and leave this place as soon as possible. There won't be such a day. Yi Chenfeng blocked him with his sword steps and activated his celestial venerable bloodline to the greatest extent, using the desolate furnace of heaven to attack him. How do you know this move? Seeing Yi Chenfeng using the desolate furnace of heaven to attack him, the Great Flux Saint's eyes widened in disbelief. While he was crying out in alarm, the sword puppet and golden battle god appeared on his left and right and sealed his escape routes. They launched fatal attacks on him and aggravated his injuries. As his injuries became more and more serious, the great celestial saint didn't risk his life and gave up on the 9 black crows that were being suppressed by the 9 dragons' jade annulus. Using a strange movement skill, he forcibly passed through the attacks of Yi Chenfeng and others and disappeared in the chaotic space. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1340. Celestial Race's almighty figures were indeed not easy to kill. Looking at the fleeing great celestial flux sage, Yi Chenfeng revealed a trace of regret that he was unable to kill him. Watermark advertisement test, however, Yi Chenfeng also gained something, and that was the 9 black crows suppressed by the 9 dragon jade annulus. If he could seal the 9 black crows, the great celestial flux sage's black crow sacred flag's power would be greatly reduced, and the threat it posed to them would be greatly reduced. Everyone, help me seal these 9 black crows. Yi Chunfeng loudly ordered. He and the others appeared beside the 9-dragon jade annulus, which was several dozen zhang high and flowing with powerful dragon might, as if a divine dragon was circling around it. One after another, they used their powerful Dao and Yao power to forcibly seal the 9 black crows that were struggling furiously. After about an incense stick's worth of time, the resistance of the 9 black crows became weaker and weaker. Finally, Yi Chunfeng and the others worked together to seal them. After putting the 9 immobilized black crows into the universe mirror, Yi Chunfeng released his soul power to sense the mountain wall that was full of cracks. He did not find anything valuable, so he prepared to leave. Suddenly, the voice that had kindly warned Yi Chunfeng just now rang in his ears again. I did not expect you to be able to chase him away. Truly not simple. Your Excellency, is Yi Chunfeng asked in a low voice. I is the same as you, a person who has been trapped here to death, the old voice replied. Yi Chunfeng, who has been trapped here to death, frowned slightly and asked in a low voice, What? Can't we get out of this place? The old voice replied, I has been trapped here for several 100,000 years. If we could get out, we would have done so long ago. After several 100,000 years, Yi Chunfeng sucked in a breath and said, Your Excellency is from Heaven Domain. No, I am from Central World, a human like you, the old voice replied. How could people from Central World live for so long? Other than Luo Xin, whose strength was unfathomable, Yi Chunfeng had never seen anyone who could live for several 100,000 years. I was able to live for so long because I found a way to survive. The old voice replied, Senior, is this space we're trapped in a Dao field? Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment and asked, I did not expect you to discover the secret of this place as soon as you were trapped here. Truly not simple. The old voice replied with a bit of surprise, You are right. This is a Dao field, and its power is very mysterious. It cannot be broken with brute force. Then, Senior, Junior, the soul tide is here. Quickly hide. Do not get swept up by the soul tide. Otherwise, you will lose your lives. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to continue asking, the aged voice suddenly interrupted him and reminded him. Hearing the old soul's warning, Yi Chunfeng saw from afar that a soul storm formed by countless souls had appeared. It was like a surging tide, swallowing the heavens and the earth, releasing a terrifying power that swept over. When the soul tide appeared, Yi Chunfeng was overjoyed instead of shocked. He quickly put everyone into the universe realm. Then, he summoned Golden Feather and flew over at an extremely fast speed. Junior to the to kill. Kill flux of the to kill seeing, Yi Chunfeng charging towards the soul tide, without any regard for his life. The elderly voice hurriedly warned him. However, Yi Chunfeng's speed was too fast. In merely 3 breaths' time, he had already flown into the soul tide that was engulfing the entire area. God-Eater Brain. Relying on his powerful physical body to resist the impact of the soul tide, Yi Chunfeng summoned the God-Eater Brain. It released a powerful devouring power, devouring the souls that were surging towards him, and continued to strengthen the God-Eater Brain. Under the God-Eater Brain's devouring power, the spirit tide did not pose any threat to Yi Chunfeng. After devouring a large number of souls, the God-Eater Brain continued to form powerful brain cells and accelerated its transformation. Half a day later, the spirit tide gradually dissipated, revealing Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting cross-legged and unharmed. After a few more devouring, the God-Eater Brain would transform. Sensing the changes in the God-Eater Brain, Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. Junior, you're actually fine? Sensing that Yi Chunfeng was unharmed despite being attacked by the spirit tide, the old voice sounded in Yi Chunfeng's ears again. Thank you for your concern, Senior. A mere spirit tide cannot hurt me. Yi Chunfeng. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng was hiding many secrets, the old voice revealed a hint of expectation. Junior, I want to meet you. Is that possible? Of course, this junior also has many questions that he would like to ask Senior face to face. Yi Chunfeng readily agreed. Come to the Black Pool, 30 miles northwest. I'll be right under the Black Pool. Okay. Yi Chenfeng nodded and quickly flapped his golden wings feathers. He flew over at an extremely fast speed and found a black pool that was as black as ink. He jumped in without hesitation, tore through the cold water, and swam to the bottom of the pool. Through the white light at the bottom of the pool, he saw an old man sealed in a huge longevity stone. His body had long dried up and looked like a skeleton. Although the old man's body was basically damaged, the vitality in his body was very strong and showed no signs of fading. It would not be a problem for him to live for another 1,000 years. Junior, looking at your bone age, you have cultivated for less than 50 years, right? The old man slowly opened his eyes that were filled with wrinkles. Through the dim light, he looked at Yi Chenfeng and asked slowly, "Yes, I have cultivated for less than 50 years." Yi Chenfeng nodded. "Amazing. I didn't expect that after hundreds of thousands of years, a genius like you would be born in the Duhan continent. Perhaps you can really leave this place in your lifetime. Senior, if I'm not wrong, you should be a Nirvana Heavenly Realm Master. Even with your strength, you still haven't found a way to leave this place after hundreds of thousands of years?" Yi Chenfeng asked. "Nirvana Heavenly Realm Masters are indeed invincible in the Duhan continent, but in the eyes of the master of the dojo, we are just slightly stronger ants." The old man said with a sigh, "Senior, do you know who the master of this dojo is?" Yi Chenfeng asked. "I don't know, but the person you chased away should know. However, according to my deduction, Vast Heaven Domain is related to Sky Beyond Heaven." The old man said, "Could it be that my guess is correct? When the spirit fish condensed the blood of a true god to attack the Great Flux Sage, the Great Flux Sage had inadvertently revealed an important piece of information that made Yi Chenfeng think that Vast Heaven Domain and Sky Beyond Heaven were left behind by the same person, and that person was related to the spirit fish by blood. Junior, what you need to consider now is not how to leave this place, but how to survive. Only by surviving will you have hope of leaving this place," the old man said slowly as he looked at the pensive Yi Chenfeng. "Senior, I want to obtain some information from the Great Flux Sage's Sea of Soul. Can you lend me a hand in suppressing that Great Flux Sage? If you help me, I promise to let you leave this place alive." Countless thoughts flashed through Yi Chenfeng's mind. He felt that Vast Heaven Domain was hiding a great secret, and this secret was most likely related to the most dangerous land in the central world, Sky Beyond Heaven. In order to figure out the secret of Vast Heaven Domain, he was prepared to suppress the Great Flux Sage. "You really have a way to leave this place." The old man's turbid eyes shone with a light even more resplendent than the stars. He looked straight at Yi Chenfeng as if he wanted to see through him. "Yes, if Senior doesn't believe me, I can swear an oath on the heavenly Tao." Yi Chenfeng nodded and made a solemn vow. Senior, this is an opportunity. Don't tell me you don't want to gamble once. Even if you lose, you'll only have less time to be tormented by loneliness." Yi Chenfeng continued looking at the hesitant old man. "All right, I will gamble once. I hope you won't disappoint me." Although the old man felt that the chances of leaving this place were very slim, Yi Chenfeng's appearance did indeed give him a glimmer of hope. After a moment of hesitation, he finally agreed. "Don't worry, Senior. A mere training ground won't be able to trap me." Yi Chenfeng said confidently, "We will definitely be able to leave this place." Mobile reading site, book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1341. Senior, why don't you come to my spatial treasure? I'll bring you away from this place. In order to prevent the Grand Flux Sage from discovering the old man, Yi Chenfeng suggested. Okay. The old man didn't hesitate and flew into the universe realm with a huge longevity stone. What a dense spiritual energy. I've almost forgotten what spiritual energy tastes like. After entering the universe realm, the old man immediately sensed the dense spiritual energy in the air. He couldn't help but take a deep breath and become spirited. Senior, just who are you? Seeing the excited old man, Yi Chunfeng asked curiously. He was curious about the old man's identity. I won't hide it from you. I am Tsang Kunwu, the 10th generation palace master of Vast Heaven Palace. Tsang Kunwu didn't hide his identity and slowly said, the 10th generation palace master of Vast Heaven Palace. Chunfeng raised his eyebrows in shock. He didn't expect the old man to have such a great background. Hua Liu, whom he met in Nightless City, was a disciple of Vast Heaven Palace. As for the Tao Addict's sworn brother, Tyrannical Dragon, he was a grand elder of Vast Heaven Palace. It could be said that he had a deep relationship with Vast Heaven Palace. Oh, right. Junior, do you know the current situation of my Vast Heaven Palace? Seeing Yi Chunfeng's expression, Tsang Kunwu guessed that Yi Chunfeng had a relationship with Vast Heaven Palace and asked in a low voice. Vast Heaven Palace is a reclusive power, so this junior's understanding of it is limited. However, this junior knows a senior who is a grand elder of Vast Heaven Palace. Yi Chunfeng said, Sai, I really want to take a look at Vast Heaven Palace, but after so many years, I'm afraid I don't even know a single person. Senior, other than this longevity stone, is there any other reason why you can live for so long? Yi Chunfeng asked. I won't hide it from you. This space is filled with terrifying death energy, and the extremity of death is life. The bottom of the black pond I'm occupying is sealed with a life spirit vein. Thanks to the longevity stone and the powerful souls I devoured from time to nourish my life force, I was able to live for so long. So that's the reason. Yi Chunfeng was very interested in the life spirit vein. He planned to move it into the universe realm before leaving this place. After leaving the Black Pond, Yi Chunfeng pushed the deduction ability of the God-Eater brain to the limit and started to search for the whereabouts of the Great Flux Sage. In the process of searching for the Great Flux Sage, Yi Chunfeng encountered two soul tides. However, the soul tide was like a tonic to Yi Chunfeng. The God-Eater brain had devoured a large number of souls in the soul tide, allowing it to evolve faster and faster. However, it still needed some time before it could truly transform. In the end, Yi Chunfeng patiently flew for 5 days before arriving at a terrifying graveyard. In the deepest part of the graveyard, he found a great flux sage devouring the essence of the yin qi in the tomb to heal his injuries. I finally found you. With his soul locked on Great Flux Sage, Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the ancient map fragment. He controlled the ancient map fragment to enlarge it continuously, restricting the space around it to prevent Great Flux Sage from escaping. Junior, you sure have guts, daring to chase me all the way here. After devouring a large amount of yin qi to heal his injuries, Great Flux Sage sensed that the space around him was restricted and immediately woke up from his cultivation. When he saw Yi Chunfeng approaching him, he roared furiously. You are just a stray dog. Why wouldn't I dare to kill you? Yi Chunfeng slashed the void and split open a huge mound, revealing the Great Flux Sage covered in yin qi and looking at him with a loathing gaze. Good. Since you are courting death, I will fulfill your wish. Great Flux Sage roared and activated a great formation he had laid in advance. 9 Great Formation, burning and devouring all living beings. Buzz, hundreds of streaks of yin light shot up into the sky and quickly formed a mysterious formation. Streaks of terrifying yin energy disrupted the void and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Heaven incinerating sacred flame, sacred thunder of purple beginnings. Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the heaven incinerating sacred flame to envelop his body while mobilizing sacred thunder of purple beginnings to counterattack, neutralizing the attacks of 9 yin Great Formation. Sacred flame, sacred thunder, with your strength, how could you subdue 2 sacred spirits? As a supreme expert of the heaven domain, Great Flux Sage was fully aware of the difficulty of subduing sacred flame and sacred thunder. Even he was unable to subdue a sacred spirit. 1,000 killing formation, suppressing yin soul with a thought from Yi Chunfeng. Thousands of supreme grade formation flags flew out of the universe realm and formed a huge formation diagram in the air, suppressing the great 9 yin formation. Senior, help me. After suppressing the 9 Great Formation, Yi Chunfeng opened the universe mirror and summoned all his helpers, sealing all the escape routes of Great Flux Sage. Kunwu, we have always minded our own business, so why are you helping him deal with me? Seeing Tsang Kunwu walking out of the longevity stone with his emaciated body emitting a monstrous chi, Great Flux Sage revealed a grave expression and furiously roared. Everyone has the right to kill a different race. Tsang Kunwu replied tyrannically. An illusory, ancient mirror that seemed to contain the sun, moon, and rivers appeared on his body. Kunwu Domain looked at the ancient mirror floating above Tsang Kunwu's head. Great Flux Sage was furious and warned, Tsang Kunwu, I advise you not to provoke me. Otherwise, even if I die, I will drag you down to hell. Great Flux Sage, aren't you overestimating yourself? Black Crow's sacred flag's tool spirit has been suppressed by me, so what are you going to use to contend against us? Yi Chunfeng sneered. Junior, I'm afraid you still don't know how terrifying my celestial race is. If I go all out, at least half of you will be killed by me. Therefore, I advise you not to provoke me. Great Flux Sage warned with an attitude of putting his life on the line. Is that so? It just so happens that I want to experience the strength of a supreme expert of the heaven domain. I hope you won't disappoint me. Yi Chunfeng said fearlessly with a faint smile. He was determined to capture Great Flux Sage alive and search his soul to learn the secrets of heaven firmament domain. Great Flux Sage's face turned green with anger and his eyes spewed fire. He did have a powerful trump card, but he had been trapped here for countless years and was already on the verge of death. Once he used it, his life force would be greatly damaged. At that time, even if he managed to kill Yi Chunfeng and the others, he wouldn't be able to survive. 2 clones kill. Yi Chunfeng didn't speak any more nonsense. With a thought, 2 great clones appeared in his body. One of them interweaved with endless sword rays, and the other one emitted a dazzling golden light. It was as if a golden sun was falling to the ground, and it bombarded the Great Flux Heavenly Saint. As the 2 clones closed in, the furious Great Flux Sage immediately summoned the Black Crow sacred flag and waved it rapidly. It disrupted the space and crushed the attacks of the 2 clones while forcing them back. Kunwu Domain, annihilation. While the 2 clones were fighting fiercely with the Great Flux Sage, Tsang Kunwu controlled the mid-grade Saint Treasure Kunwu Domain to shoot out a beam of destructive light that tore through the sky and shone down. The terrifying beam pierced through the shadows of the flag like a hot knife through butter and bombarded the Great Flux Sage's body, sending him flying. His chest was badly mutilated. You forced me to do this. His body being injured by Kunwu Domain completely infuriated the Great Flux Sage. He roared and didn't hesitate to burn his life force and bloodline to execute the inherited divine ability of the celestial race. Self-transformation. Ling Tian's body when the life force and bloodline power in the Great Flux Sage's body reached the peak. His body started to grow bigger and attract the power of heaven in the space to fuse with his body. In the blink of an eye, he transformed into Ling Tian's body and fused with the sky. The Tao intent in his body was completely activated. At this moment, he was like the ruler of heaven and earth, striking fear in people's hearts. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1342. Spirit Grade Tao Diagram. Seeing Great Flux Sage transform into Ling Tian avatar and the 2 Tao diagrams floating above his head, Tsang Kunwu couldn't help but reveal a grave expression. Watermark advertisement. Test watermark advertisement. Test let me send you to hell. Great Flux Sage, who had lost his life, roared. The 2 Spirit Grade Tao diagrams turned into flowing water and fused with Black Crow sacred flag. The flag swayed rapidly, and a terrifying power shattered the void and swept toward Yi Chunfeng and the rest. 9 Dragon Jade Annulus. Suppress when the Great Flux Heavenly Saint waved the Black Crow Sacred Banner. He summoned the 9 Dragons Jade Wall and channeled all of his Tao energy into it, causing it to expand and suppress the chaotic void, restraining the attacks of the Great Flux Heavenly Saint. Top Grade Sage Treasure. Sensing the power emitted by 9 Dragon Jade Annulus, Song Kunwu revealed a strange expression. Top Grade Sage Treasure was rarely seen even in Origin World. Apart from the 3 divine nations, no other power had it. Flood Dragon Spirits. Seal the void when Black Crow Sacred Flag was suppressed by 9 Dragon Jade Annulus. Yi Chunfeng controlled the 9 Flood Dragon Spirits to seal the space around Great Flux Sage, limiting his space to dodge. In the next instant, Marquis Qianming, the Chaos Divine Beast, and the Spirit Fish made their move at the same time. They used their fiercest killing moves to attack Great Flux Sage. Death Tao Diagrams, Heaven Tao Diagrams. Resist while facing the attacks of Marquis, Qianming, and the rest. Great Flux Sage used one hand to transform death, and the other to transform Heaven Tao Diagrams to seal the space in front of him. While Great Flux Sage relied on his powerful strength and the power of the Spirit Grade Tao Diagrams to resist the attacks of Marquis, Qianming, and the rest, a powerful light that seemed to contain the power of mountains and rivers shot out from Kunwu territory and attacked the 2 Spirit Grade Tao Diagrams that sealed the void. Crack, crack, crack under the attacks of Kunwu territory. The 2 Spirit Grade Tao Diagrams cracked continuously, causing Great Flux Sage to bear an enormous pressure. Great Flux Heavenly Saint gritted his teeth and relied on his powerful Ling Tian body to defend against Kunwu Realm's fatal attacks. Meanwhile, Yi Chenfeng had already circled behind him with sword steps. The Primal Chaos Divine would appeared around him and whipped his back with Primal Chaos Force. Sensing the danger, the Great Flux Divine Saint instinctively wanted to dodge, but the 9 spirits of the Jiao Dragons sealed off his space of escape, making it impossible for him to dodge. He could only face the attack head-on. Boom! After taking a direct hit from the Chaos Divine Tree, Great Flux Saint's defense was immediately shattered. The swaying Chaos Divine Tree continued to attack his back, turning his back into a bloody mess. His towering body started to lose control. Losing control of his body, Song Kunwu, Marquis Qianming, and the others immediately launched attacks at him, bombarding his body. "I'm gonna kill you." The injuries on his body continued to worsen, and Great Flux Heavenly Saint frantically fused the power of heaven to congeal 2 Spirit Grade Tao Diagrams to counterattack. He sent the Sage Treasures and Quasi-Sage Treasures flying one after another, bringing great pressure to Marquis Qianming and the others. Fortunately, Song Kunwu's strength was also terrifying. He borrowed Kunwu Realm to dissolve Great Flux Heavenly Saint's attacks and restrain his fierce counterattacks. While everyone was fighting fiercely and causing a large area of space to collapse, Yi Chunfeng controlled the deduction ability of the God-devouring brain to the extreme. It evolved into the sound of Great Tao and attacked Great Flux Heavenly Saint's soul, dragging away his energy. Seizing the instant Great Flux Heavenly Saint resisted the sound of Great Tao. Song Kunwu threw out Kunwu Realm, which was fused with the will of Great Tao. Like a cold star streaking across the blue dome of heaven, it struck Great Flux Heavenly Saint's chest at close range, shattering his Taoist robe and penetrating his flesh, sending him flying. If it wasn't for the fact that Great Flux Heavenly Saint's Ling Tian avatar was too powerful, this strike would have been enough to destroy his corporeal body. Great Flux Heavenly Saint lost control of his body and flew backward. Golden Battle God and Sword Puppet closed in on him at the same time, ignoring his hasty attacks and launching fierce counterattacks to suppress his offense. Sacred Blood Bead, Fuse. Great Flux Heavenly Saint gritted his teeth and mobilized the power of heaven to strengthen Ling Tian avatar. While he was facing the attacks of Golden Battle God and Sword Puppet, Yi Chenfeng fused with Sacred Blood Bead and executed Ancient Sword Song to slash at his head. With a slash, the terrifying sword of Great Tao tore apart the sea of clouds in the horizon and split the sky. With a song of Great Tao that sounded like the evening drum and morning bell, Great Flux, Heavenly Saint, fell to the ground from midair. His arms that were fully focused on defense were forcibly shattered by this slash. After successfully injuring Great Flux, Heavenly Saint's arms, Yi Qinfeng and the rest followed up their victory by launching tide-like attacks. They were bound to heavily injure and suppress him. Great Flux, Heavenly Saint, whose eyes were bloodshot, couldn't resist the onslaught of attacks. He roared and didn't hesitate to self-detonate his left arm to execute the celestial race's secret technique. With my blood, heaven and earth will return together. Boom! Great Flux, Heavenly Saint's self-detonated left arm boiled like an erupting volcano, forming a world-destroying power in the void that swept toward Yi Qinfeng and the rest, wanting to kill them. Universe Realm, withdraw. At the crucial moment, Yi Qinfeng teleported everyone back to the Universe Realm to avoid Great Flux, Heavenly Saint's self-detonated left arm, and executed a fatal attack. Break. Seeing Yi Qinfeng and the rest disappear, Great Flux, Heavenly Saint gnashed his teeth in hatred. But at this very moment, he didn't have the time to hesitate. He retrieved Black Crow, Sacred Flag, and decisively rushed into the void. Ignoring the injuries on his arms, he wanted to forcibly tear apart the restriction of the ancient map fragment and escape. Great Flux, Heavenly Saint, you won't be able to escape. Obediently accept your fate. Suddenly, Yi Qinfeng appeared out of nowhere and attacked him at an extremely fast speed, not giving him the chance to tear apart the restriction of the ancient map fragment and escape. F***CK, I'll kill you first. The great celestial saint's blood-red eyes were filled with killing intent. He held the Black Raven Sacred Flag and attacked Yi Qinfeng. He wanted to kill him to vent his anger. Bang! The Black Crow Sacred Flag, which was flickering with Tao intent, ruthlessly smashed Yi Qinfeng's body, which didn't dodge at all, directly smashing his body into pieces. Yi Qinfeng's body was smashed into pieces in one strike, which was far beyond Great Flux, Heavenly Saint's expectations. He was startled and revealed an incredulous expression. No, this is fake. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's body being smashed into pieces without a single drop of blood, Great Flux, Heavenly Saint sensed danger and wanted to dodge. But suddenly, the sword puppet closed in on him and burned its powerful energy to slash at him. It forced him to twist his body at an inconceivable angle to resist the might of the sword. However, the power of the sword puppet's sword was too great, and he had to defend himself in a hurry. Adding on the fact that he had lost an arm, his offensive power was greatly affected. After taking the blow head-on, he lost control of his body and fell to the ground. Great Flux, Heavenly Saint, you don't have the chance. The moment the Great Cord Heavenly Saint fell to the ground, Yi Qinfeng, Song Kunwu, and the others appeared and injected their Tao energy into the Nine-Dragon Jade Annulus. They controlled the Nine-Dragon Jade Annulus to condense 3 ferocious dragons that tore through the void and bombarded him. Boom, 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 3 earth-shattering explosions rang out. Facing the attacks of the 3 deadly dragons, Great Flux, Heavenly Saint's body's defenses were completely shattered. Ling Tian's body was almost destroyed, and his consciousness also became blurry. God-Eater Brain, Soul, Search. Seizing this opportunity, Yi Qinfeng quickly appeared in the crater that had collapsed more than 30 meters and borrowed the power of God-Eater Brain to search his soul and obtain his memories. At this time, Song Kunwu borrowed Kunwu Realm to suppress Great Flux, Heavenly Saint, and delay his self-detonation. Roughly 10 breaths later, Song Kunwu could no longer suppress the power of Great Flux, Heavenly Saint's self-detonation and quickly retreated with Yi Qinfeng. Boom! Great Flux, Heavenly Saint's body turned into a ball of bloodlight that pierced the blue dome of heaven and destroyed the space within a radius of 1 li. He died from self-detonation. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.